Chapter 800. Pig-headed. The voice of the Drift's now master was ice cold. The gigantic Drift's now city actually began to move. Below the ancient city, a gigantic bird with a city on its back flapped its wings, causing the entire city to move forward. The Drift's now master's countenance was ice cold. His palms grabbed out in the air, causing the entire sky to turn golden. Boundless golden light gushed forth as many golden diagrams appeared in the air. Jiang Zhuqing stepped out when he saw this scene, wanting to retreat. He knew that his strength was inferior to the Drift's now master and he wouldn't clash head-on with him. However, he would wait. Unless the Drift's now master could exist forever and Qin Wenyin would never appear again. However, at this moment, a terrifying sense of danger suddenly bore down on him. Jiang Zhuqing's countenance stiffened and he abruptly turned. A spear of darkness appeared in his hands as he stabbed out frenziedly. A supreme saber light slashed down from the sky, akin to a bolt of lightning. A beam of white light directly cleaved the void into two. This saber strike could only be described as world-shaking. Bang! The spear collided with the saber light and was actually split apart in the middle. Jiang Zhuqing's body explosively retreated. A terrifying rumbling sound came from behind him. Jiang Zhuqing's face turned pale. This sudden saber attack instantly caused him to fall into a state of despair. Rumble! An incomparably gigantic palm imprint slammed down, bringing with it a towering might that directly tore apart the life force in his body. Jiang Zhuqing's body trembled violently. He stared ahead. He didn't look at the Drift's now master but at the black-robed figure who just appeared. "We have no grudges. Why are you trying to kill me?" Jiang Zhuqing was filled with reluctance. He was an immortal king of a generation, but because of a sudden attack from the Saber Lord of Death, he was going to die here. "I've never had a reason to kill. If I want to kill, I will." The black-robed figure spoke. He was none other than Mu Yan's master, the Saber Lord of Death. Mu Yan's ghostly saber had inherited the style of the Saber Lord of Death. Every time he slashed, there would be blood. There were no rules. His saber was the law. His personality was also unfathomable. Countless people below opened their mouths wide, staring at the scene in disbelief. They didn't expect there would be such a sudden attack. The Saber Lord of Death actually wanted to kill Jiang Zhuqing. That saber strike far surpassed the expectations of everyone. It also caused the death of Jiang Zhuqing, immortal king of a generation. Was the Jiang clan going to be completely annihilated just like that? I can't accept this. Jiang Zhuqing's countenance was incomparably malevolent. Immortal light gushed forth frenziedly from him. Even though his life force had been destroyed, he still wanted to unleash an attack of death. However, the Drift's now master only sent out a palm strike. Thunderous rumbling sounds rang out as Jiang Zhuqing's body trembled violently. Jiang Zhuqing's eyes were still open. Even when his body was falling, he was still unwilling. "The items on him belong to me. The Drift's now master wouldn't have any objections, right?" The Saber Lord of Death asked. "Take it." The Drift's now master waved his palms and a moment later, Jiang Zhuqing's body flew towards the Saber Lord of Death. The Saber Lord didn't stand on ceremony and directly collected the spoils of war. Jiang Zhuqing was the leader of the Jiang clan, and the Jiang clan was a sacred ground for weaponsmithing in the Cloud Prefecture. How many treasures would he have on him? That saber strike of the Saber Lord was priceless. He was much more brilliant compared to those experts who coveted Qin Wenyin. With a single strike, he plundered all the wealth of an immortal king. However, this saber strike required determination and courage. That saber strike was aimed at the immortal king of the Jiang clan, Jiang Zhuqing. It wasn't aimed at a mere third-level celestial phenomenon ant like Qin Wenyin. However, no one would dare to imagine the rewards of this saber strike. "Many thanks." The Saber Lord smiled at the Drift's now master. Nobody knew that the reason he slashed out that saber strike wasn't merely for the treasures on Jiang Zhuqing. Naturally, he wouldn't say it out loud. From afar in the air, there were many experts spectating this scene. However, none of them showed their faces, including those experts who were from the major powers the Drift's now master killed. The Jiang clan was annihilated. How would they dare to show their faces? The commotion caused by Qin Wenyin was simply too terrifying. Before this, no one dared to even think about it. No matter how weak the Jiang clan was, it was still a sacred ground for weaponsmithing. Right now, they were still a supreme power with authority in the field of weaponsmithing. But now, they were annihilated just like that. The impact of this to everyone was extremely great. Leave this city here. If you hand it over to him now, he wouldn't be able to control it. Leave it far away and wait for him to come and retrieve it in the future. The Saber Lord spoke. The Drift's now master cast a deep glance at him. I have no grudge with Qin Wenyin. I believe that even if I kill him, I won't be able to obtain this city. I have no ill intentions. The Saber Lord smiled. He understood the Drift's now master's intentions. No matter who covets the city, it's useless. The 9 immortality bells have already been refined by Qin Wenyin. Even if we seize his memories and kill him, we won't be able to control this city. Only Qin Wenyin can do this. If there's anyone else who covets this city, I will definitely not spare them. The Drift's now master turned his gaze to the horizons, his voice shaking the heavens and earth. That little fellow isn't bad, I have high hopes for him. Master can leave in peace and leave him to me to take care of. No one would dare to bully him. If you don't believe me, you can ask him for his opinion. The Saber Lord spoke as he transmitted his voice to the Drift's now master. I'm old acquaintances with your successor. Allow him to regain his consciousness and you can ask him about it. The eyes of the Drift's now master flickered when he heard this. After which, he closed his eyes as his gigantic body gradually shrunk in size. The supreme sharpness he exuded faded away as his countenance gradually changed, transforming into the countenance of Qin Wenyin. Qin Wenyan's eyes were tightly shut. All of a sudden, he felt a voice calling out to him. His eyes opened only to hear a voice ringing out in his mind, Qin Wenyin, this person said that he will take care of you. Do you trust him? Senior is the Drift's now master? Qin Wenyan's heart trembled as he asked. That voice rang out once more. Only now did Qin Wenyin incline his head and stared at the Saber Lord of Death. A sense of familiarity appeared, he only saw the Saber Lord smiling at him. He couldn't help but to reply to the Drift's now master, I do indeed have some connection with this person. I'm willing to trust him. This person was his senior from the Heavenly Talisman realm and was also an immortal king. Qin Wenyin was willing to trust him. That voice rang out once more. That face transformed back into that of the Drift's now master. He stared at the Saber Lord of Death as he spoke, just like what you said, leave this city here. When he steps into the Immortal Foundation realm, he can come back to retrieve it and turn it into a mobile city for him. As the sound of his voice faded, the Drift's now master controlled the ancient Drift's now city to descend. An instant later, the ancient Drift's now city returned to its original location. Rumbling sounds rang out as the ancient Drift's now city was embedded into the ground. The land of an entire city, this is simply a treasure trove. Everyone felt some jealousy towards Qin Wenyin. How terrifying was the might of the Drift's now city. Once Qin Wenyin gained full control over it, it was equivalent to him controlling many immortal ranked weapons. In addition, when Qin Wenyin grew stronger, he could treat the Drift's now city as his own clan or power. The entire city would be a divine weapon that was countless times stronger compared to the protective formations of those powerful clans and sections. Even the major powers of the Cloud Prefecture would be envious of Qin Wenyin. He will naturally understand this point. The Saber Lord of Death nodded. The Drift's now master stood on the ground, surveying his surroundings. Snowflakes drifted down from the sky as a look of longing flashed in his eyes. Ultimately, it no longer belongs to me. The Drift's now master sighed, filled with boundless desolation. Pei Yu's body trembled violently. She stared at the Drift's now master. Are you going to leave? It's time for me to leave. The Drift's now master nodded. If I'm willing to use my body to host your soul, would I be able to revive you like now, never to leave again? Pei Yu's eyes were filled with infatuation. She stared at the Drift's now master as tears could be seen in the corners of her eyes. Silly lass. The Drift's now master sighed. Earlier when he entered Pei Yu's mind, he had already seen through her emotions. I'm someone who has already died, there's no need for longing. The world of mortals is so beautiful, you should enjoy it well. The Drift's now master laughed. The snowflakes drifted down at an even faster speed as the Drift's now master's body gradually turned illusory. Pei Yu only felt an unbearable pain. Boom. When the bell chimed, Qin Wentian's countenance appeared there. The 9 immortality bells stood tall. The chimes of the bells accompanied the snowflakes dancing in the air. The bell chimes rang out. Are you thinking of immortal jade again? Pei Yu inclined her head, staring at the snowflakes in the air. This snow was so beautiful, it was his tears. At this moment, Qin Wentian was extremely weak. The boundless radiance around him dissipated as he took out a robe and wrapped it around his body. He returned to his original state, and when he saw the reluctance in Pei Yu's eyes, he could sense a faint sense of sadness. Pei Yu actually fell in love with the Drift's now master? A strange emotion appeared in Qin Wentian's heart. Pei Yu had always been fond of the story between the Drift's now master and immortal jade. She was especially affected by the deep emotions of the Drift's now master. Who would have thought that such emotions that were rooted deep in her heart would actually be stirred up by the appearance of the Drift's now master? Why don't you leave together with me? The Saber Lord spoke to Pei Yu. Right now, it was no longer suitable for Pei Yu to stay behind. After all, she had helped the Drift's now master before. No, I will stay behind to accompany him. Pei Yu shook her head. She stared at Qin Wentian. The Drift's now master left this city for you. It has the ability to fly. He said that after you step into the Immortal Foundation realm, you can come back to retrieve this city. Qin Wentian nodded. He stared at Pei Yu. Let's leave together, it's too dangerous for you to stay behind. No need, I like this city. Pei Yu smiled. Qin Wentian stared at her expression. He knew that he wouldn't be able to convince this girl before him. Your obsession is too deep. The Saber Lord sighed. Qin Wentian, come with me. Qin Wentian stared at Pei Yu, only to see her smiling at him. He couldn't help but feel helpless. He could only nod his head to the Saber Lord. If you want to touch this city, think carefully about the consequences. The Saber Lord spoke, bringing Qin Wentian and Mu Yan away. In the air, Qin Wentian stared at the ancient city below. Within that ancient city, Pei Yu quietly sat there, staring at the drifting snowflakes in a daze. What would her fate be? Chapter 801. After the Saber Lord of Death brought Qin Wentian and Mu Yan away, several people flew out. There were experts from all directions, and all of them stepped into the ancient Drift's now city, staring at the simple and unadorned ancient city. It was hard to imagine that when the runic light shone, the city would be able to display such shocking power. It's been so many years, yet no one has been able to solve it. Many experts sighed in their hearts. If they unraveled the mystery, they would be able to gain the recognition of the Drift's now master and obtain a city. Sadly, only Qin Wentian had the talent to connect immortality through forging a weapon, unraveling the mystery within the 9 immortality bells and obtaining the Drift's now city. Pei Yu. At this moment, someone called out. Pei Yu was still quietly sitting in the city. She inclined her head and stared at the person who spoke. It was an expert from the Jiangling King Manor. But now, the Jiangling King of the Jiangling King Manor, Pei Tianyuan, had already died. Yet Pei Yu still cared about her enemy and decided to help the Drift's now master. Do you know your crimes? The expert from the Prefecture King's Manor coldly spoke, his voice filled with killing intent. Pei Yu inclined her head and stared at the snowflakes that filled the sky. She stretched out her hand and spoke, since I haven't left this city, I don't plan to live anymore. As the sound of her voice faded, Pei Yu quietly laid on the ground. She stared at the drifting snowflakes in the air as a smile flickered in her eyes. After which, she slowly closed her eyes, radiating a sense of tranquility and warmth, as though she had long disregarded life and death. She was immersed in her own story, and in this story, there was the Drift's now master as well as her. That expert's killing intent flickered, but someone else spoke up, forget it. That person snorted coldly. In the end, he didn't act to kill Peiyu. In this part of the sky, snowflakes still fluttered down. The ancient city no longer had its splendor, but it had buried a powerful clan, the Jiang clan. Was the soul of the Drift's now master still within the 9 immortality bells? When would that young man return and take away the city that belonged to him? Would those major forces that had lost many powerful cultivators dare to take revenge on the prodigies that were taken away by the swordsman of death? Snowflakes continued to fall. All these questions seemed to be buried within the drifting snow. No one knew. Perhaps the only thing that could prove them was time. 3 months later in the Heavenly Talisman realm. Within the Heavenly Talisman Palace, Qin Wenyan sat cross-legged in the air, comprehending the runic light that filled the air. It was as though he had seen through all sorts of innate techniques and techniques. He lifted his palms to attack, and every time he blasted out, a different type of energy would be unleashed. 3 months ago, during the battle in the Drift's Now city, he borrowed the power of external sources and gained the strength to slay Immortal Foundation experts. Although that wasn't his own strength, it was because he borrowed the power of the Drift's Now city. Despite that, he still benefited greatly from it, truly comprehending how immense power was able to affect the laws of the world. The him who had transformed into a giant, every attack of his was immortal energy, containing boundless might. But now, it was as though he had reverted back to being immortal. Naturally, Qin Wenyan wouldn't waver because of this. He knew that cultivation required one to accumulate experience step by step. Only with a solid foundation would one's combat prowess grow stronger and stronger. Ascending to immortality in a single step was only when he was in the ancient Drift's Now city. After leaving that weaponized city, his greatest reliance was still his own strength. Let's go out for a walk. Qin Wenyan stood up and walked out of the Heavenly Talisman Palace. Glancing at the terrifying statue of the Heavenly Talisman Realm Lord, Qin Wenyan then thought of the Drift's Now master as he sighed in his heart. What a pity, the Drift's Now master's magnificence was unmatched through the generations. He wondered if there would be a chance for him to reappear in the world of mortals in the future. You are done with your cultivation? At this moment, a voice drifted over. Qin Wenyan slowly walked out, and not long after, he came to a river in the Heavenly Talisman realm. The Saber Lord of Death stood there, slashing out with his saber repeatedly, slashing at the river again and again. He didn't imbue any energy into his saber, it was as though he was purely comprehending his saber techniques. Behind every expert, there would always be unimaginable sacrifices. Who would have thought that the powerful immortal king, the Saber Lord of Death, would use such a shallow method to comprehend his saber techniques? Naturally, everyone's cultivation was different. The Saber Lord of Death definitely had his own reasons for doing this. I've stabilized my cultivation base. I can faintly sense that I've already stepped into the peak of the 3rd level of celestial phenomenon. There's no longer any meaning for me to continue staying here. Qin Wenyan spoke. Back then when Senior Bai Weia brought you here, other than the Heavenly Talisman Palace, did he bring you out for a stroll? The Saber Lord asked. No, after I exited the Heavenly Talisman Palace, I directly left the Heavenly Talisman realm. Qin Wenyan replied. Okay then. This time around I'll bring you to a place. It's a combat realm within the Heavenly Talisman realm. You can temper your combat prowess there. The Saber Lord spoke. After that, he stopped his actions and brought Qin Wenyan along as his silhouette flickered. Not long after, the Saber Lord brought Qin Wenyan to a towering palace. This palace seemed to connect to the heavens, incomparably vast. It was unknown how vast the interior was. Other than them, there were other people in the combat realm as well. These 2 women were able to appear in the Heavenly Talisman realm. Clearly, they were members of the Heavenly Talisman realm. One of the 2 women was a beautiful married woman with a valiant demeanor. Her countenance was as cold as frost, while the other woman was extremely young, around 20 years of age. She had a pair of phoenix eyes and gave off a sense of vigor and vitality. She was clad in tight-fitting clothing that accentuated her voluptuous curves, making her look extremely alluring. Is this the person you recommended? That beautiful married woman stared at the Saber Lord as she asked. Only immortal kings had the qualifications to recommend people. This beautiful married woman was clearly an immortal king as well. As for that young woman, she was the one who recommended her into the heavenly talisman realm. The number one requirement was a violet gold astral soul. Nope. The Saber Lord shook his head. I've never recommended anyone before. It's just that this young man is extraordinary. If I met him earlier, I would have recommended him as well. Is that so? You regard him so highly? The beautiful married woman frowned as sharpness flickered in her eyes. Outstanding people are naturally valued. The Saber Lord laughed. I wonder what the junior apprentice sister recommended by Fairy Sue is like? My judgment is naturally better than yours. This beautiful married woman seemed to be on bad terms with the Saber Lord. Her tone was filled with unfriendliness. She stared at Qin Wenin and spoke. There are many elites in the heavenly talisman realm. This young man just so coincidentally met Zi Qingxian when he came to the heavenly talisman realm. It can be considered that his luck isn't bad. We can compare ourselves to each other. The eyes of the Saber Lord of Death flickered as a gleam of sharpness flickered within. He then spoke to Qin Wenin. Little brat, you are being looked down upon. This Fairy Sue is your senior apprentice sister, but she seems to think that you are inferior to the junior apprentice sister she introduced into the sect. Stop trying to sow discord. Fairy Sue glanced at the Saber Lord before turning to Qin Wenin. Since you have entered the sect, you will be my junior apprentice brother in the future. It's just that Zi Qingshuan's talent is extraordinary, her bloodline is unique, and she has a unique physique. You entering the heavenly talisman realm together with her can be considered a fortunate thing. There's no need to intentionally compare yourself to others. Did you hear that? Your senior apprentice sister Sue said that looking at the talent of this junior apprentice sister Zi Qingxian would be beneficial to you. You have to learn from her well. The Saber Lord spoke in a frivolous manner. He then turned to Fairy Sue and continued, Oh yeah, when did she enter the sect? Between the two of them, I also want to see who entered the sect earlier. Zi Qingxian has been in the sect for 5 months. Fairy Sue replied. In that case, she would have to address Qin Wenin as senior apprentice brother. The Saber Lord laughed. Zi Qingshuan's phoenix eyes glanced at Qin Wenin before shifting her gaze away, not daring to look at him any longer. Okay, let them enter. The Saber Lord spoke. Wait a minute, there's another junior apprentice brother coming over. The beautiful middle-aged woman spoke, her words causing the expression of the Saber Lord to stiffen. Is he also at the celestial phenomenon realm? Strange, this is extremely rare. For celestial phenomenon ascendants, if they don't have extraordinary talent, they wouldn't be recommended into the sect. The Saber Lord spoke in a low voice, as though he was speaking to Qin Wenin. Qin Wenin naturally understood this point. Firstly, celestial phenomenon ascendants had to have a violet gold astral soul. This was already 1 in a trillion characters. They have arrived. At this moment, a gust of wind gusted by as 2 silhouettes landed. One of them was the immortal king who was recommended, exuding a transcendent aura. As for the other, he looked extremely young, only around 20 years of age. His skin was fair and clean, and he looked extremely delicate and pretty. Senior apprentice Sister Sue, Senior apprentice Sister Qingxian, this young man called out. He then turned to the Saber Lord and Qin Wenin. Greetings to the two of you. Saber Lord, this is Jun Mingchen, junior apprentice brother Jun, that immortal king introduced. This is Qin Wenin, junior apprentice brother Qin. The Saber Lord also introduced. Qin Wenin nodded to everyone. This was the first time he saw so many people from the same sect as him. The heavenly talisman realm was extremely strict when it came to recruiting disciples. But after all, it had existed for so many years. The disciples of the heavenly talisman realm were scattered all over the immortal realms. Most probably, if they were to gather together, they would be a terrifying force. All right, you guys can enter. That transcendent expert spoke. After that, the 3 of them nodded and walked towards the battle gate. When the 3 of them entered, the Saber Lord and Fairy Sue stared at the transcendent expert as they asked, Senior brother, You actually recommended a disciple as well? Who is this person? I met him when I was roaming around a particle world. This person is extraordinary and has a supreme talent. This was why I was moved by his talent and decided to bring him to the heavenly talisman realm. That transcendent expert replied. A person from a particle world can actually cause Senior to be so moved? Fairy Sue was somewhat bewildered. He's the king of a particle world. That transcendent expert replied as a smile appeared on his face. It was like he was thinking back to the scene when he met Jun Mingchen. Even though his cultivation base was heaven-defying, he was still shocked by that scene. The entire world prostrated before him. If it wasn't for them personally witnessing it, who would be able to imagine that this delicate-looking young man had such a domineering aura? What about you guys? That senior brother asked. Zi Qingxian is an orphan. However, her parents must have an extraordinary background with a powerful bloodline. She was born with a transcendent physique and combat prowess. Fairy Sue replied. After that, the two of them turned to the Saber Lord of Death. The Saber Lord waved his hands and smiled. When I met him, he was in a city in the Cloud Prefecture of the Eastern Sage 13 Prefectures. He managed to ignite the will of the ancients and connected with immortality through smithing, borrowing the power of runes to create an immortal ranked weapon. After that, he obtained a weaponized city and stood there proudly. With a cultivation base at the 3rd level of celestial phenomenon, he fought against many experts and even killed many immortal foundation experts. No wonder. Just his aura alone is extraordinary. No wonder you recommended him into the sect. That transcendent expert spoke. I wasn't the one who recommended him. The one who recommended him was Bai Wuya. The Saber Lord smiled, his words causing the eyes of the two of them to flash with sharpness. Chapter 802. Qin Wenyan, Jun Mingchen and Zi Qingxian entered the battle world together. As they walked through the passageway leading to the battle world, Jun Mingchen asked, Senior brother Qin and senior sister Qingxian, where did you come from? My hometown is in a particle world. Qin Wenyan felt that Jun Mingchen was extremely amiable. Jun Mingchen seemed to be filled with energy and vitality. I wandered the 4 seas, I have no home. Zi Qingxian spoke. I'm the same as senior brother Qin, I also came from a particle world. Senior brother met me when he was roaming the world and brought me here. Jun Mingchen was extremely straightforward. They walked through the passageway and arrived at the vast battle world. Ahead of them, beams of light flashed and over there were many floating diagrams. These diagrams were all alive, and each of them shone with a bright light. Within them, there was a demonic beast. Which battle immortal do you all choose to challenge? A voice rang out, echoing through this vast space. The same voice rang out from each diagram. Qin Wenyan swept his gaze over the diagrams before his eyes landed on one of them. In this diagram, there was an incomparably gigantic demonic beast that was over 100 meters tall. Its entire body was forged from gold and had a fearsome defense. The head of the demonic beast resembled that of an ox, and it breathed heavily. Its gigantic arms resembled the arms of a human, and it seemed to possess an incomparably terrifying strength. I choose you. Qin Wenyan stared ahead as he spoke. A moment later, a beam of immortal light shot out from the diagram, landing on Qin Wenyan. In an instant, Qin Wenyan was brought to an independent space, entering the diagram. Before him, there was a gigantic beast that had the head of a bull and the body of a human. This beast was over 100 meters tall and was panting heavily. It had a terrifying body that seemed to be forged from gold. You're dead. This monster spoke. After that, he turned and sat on a golden throne. In just an instant, he seemed to be extremely far away from Qin Wenyan. With a wave of his hand, a monster that was extremely similar to him appeared before Qin Wenyan. However, its aura was the same as Qin Wenyan, at the 3rd level of celestial phenomenon. Qin Wenyan glanced to his left and right. He discovered that both Zi Qingxian and Jun Mingchen had chosen their own immortal war beasts. Zi Qingxian chose a golden-winged demonic beast with terrifying eyes and a pair of golden wings. Jun Mingchen chose a demonic beast with a terrifying king's Dao aura. It sat there as if it was the king of this world. It was shaped like a lion or a tiger, and its body was several dozen zhang in size. The three of them chose their own immortal warriors and appeared in different spaces. "What are you looking at?" A cold voice rang out, only to see the ox demon walking towards Qin Wenin. Every step it took caused the earth to tremble and the mountains to tremble. Third-level celestial phenomenon? Not enough. Qin Wenin emotionlessly spoke. His body dashed out, dashing towards that ox demon. Lifting his palms, runic light circulated around his palms, containing a terrifying might that could destroy everything. The ox demon's gigantic palms also blasted out explosively as a terrifying roar rang out from its mouth. A resplendent golden light blasted towards Qin Wenin. Boom! Both attacks collided. Qin Wenin only felt his palms slamming into an impenetrable wall. The ox demon's palms were all golden in color, gleaming with the resplendent light. So powerful! Qin Wentian's eyes flashed. This level of power was simply too terrifying. He knew that even if he relied on his own strength alone, he would already be able to easily defeat opponents at the same level. However, when he blasted his palms against the ox demon, his palms actually turned numb. From this, one could see how strong the ox demon was. "Is that all you've got?" The ox demon let out a low roar. Qin Wentian's palms shimmered with a terrifying light as he blasted out once more. The ox demon's gigantic fist blasted out once more, as though it could crush the tiny Qin Wentian into pieces. "Explode!" Qin Wentian roared in rage. When their attacks collided once more, a terrifying surge of energy directly gushed into the ox demon's body, tearing it apart. The ox demon war immortal waved his hands once more. Instantly, 8 powerful ox demons appeared, wielding golden long spears in their hands as they walked towards Qin Wentian. Are there no limits to the battle realm? Qin Wentian silently mused. If these 8 powerful ox demons appeared in the outside world, they would be able to kill opponents at the same level as them with a single strike. However, this bit of strength was far from sufficient to deal with him. "Let's change to something stronger." Qin Wentian spoke, causing the eyes of the 8 ox demons to gleam with an incomparably sharp golden light. They dashed out at the same time, stomping on the ground as the golden long spears in their hands shot out at the same time, aiming straight for Qin Wentian, wanting to kill Qin Wentian with a single strike. The 8 golden bodies of the ox demons stabbed out with their spears at the same time. Qin Wentian stood before them, giving off an incomparably tiny feeling. Boom! A terrifying light radiated from Qin Wentian's palms, containing a terrifying suppressive force. He took a step forward as his body directly soared into the sky, slamming out with his palm. A gigantic palm imprint flashing with light collided with the 8 spears, actually shattering the golden long spears. Qin Wentian took a step forward and slammed out with his palm imprint once more, suppressing everything. Rumbling sounds rang out unceasingly as the bodies of the 8 ox demons were all destroyed. Not too bad. The battle immortal sitting on the throne emotionlessly spoke. With a wave of his hand, a gigantic ox demon with a cultivation base at the 4th level of celestial phenomenon appeared. It wielded a long spear in its hands, exuding an even stronger pressure. Qin Wenin stood there as a resplendent light circulated around his body. It was like a fearsome fiend god armor was covering him. Seems like the combat in the battle realm started from your cultivation base. You would be able to continuously adjust yourself and grow stronger and stronger. Since this was the case, he might as well display an even greater strength to show this ox demon. Cracking sounds rang out as Qin Wentian's body also expanded in size. He was now 100 meters in size, the same size as the ox demons. Resplendent light circulated around his body, making him look even more extraordinary. His constellation flashed in the air as sword killing appeared. Numerous terrifying swords manifested in the air, exuding boundless sword might. Kill! As the sound of Qin Wentian's voice faded, the numerous sharp swords erupted forth at the same time, aiming for the gigantic ox demon. The long spear in the ox demon's hand stabbed out as a resplendent golden diagram appeared in the air, blocking the sword might. Qin Wenin soared through the air as the sword might he exuded grew even more terrifying. He lifted his palms and punched out, containing a myriad of sword might, capable of suppressing everything. The eyes of the ox demon flickered with golden lightning. His long spear rapidly pierced out, blasting out countless times in an instant. Numerous beams of golden light flashed, blocking all the incoming attacks. Powerful! Qin Wendian silently mused, after which, the sword might in the air frenziedly rained down, unceasingly suppressing the ox demon. Rumbling sounds rang out unceasingly, and finally, the golden diagram was destroyed. The sharp swords pierced through the ox demon's body, killing the ox demon who was at the 4th level of celestial phenomenon. However, the strength of this ox demon already caused Qin Wenyan to feel a trace of pressure. Qin Wenyan hadn't even recovered from his shock when he heard the rumbling sounds ringing out unceasingly. 8 powerful ox demons at the 4th level of celestial phenomenon stepped out at the same time, exuding a terrifying might. His constellation flashed once more as the Suppression Annihilation constellation appeared. Numerous terrifying silhouettes appeared in the air, each of them was the same size as Qin Wenyan, with a height of 100 meters. Die for me! Qin Wenyan coldly snorted. Those terrifying silhouettes descended, wanting to annihilate everything in their path. Every single terrifying body that descended seemed to possess boundless might of annihilation. They smashed onto those bodies and directly crushed the ox demons into pieces on the spot. They were incomparably powerful. The battle immortal on the throne waved his hands again when he saw this scene. 16 ox demons appeared, rushing towards Qin Wenyan. Yet all of them were suppressed without exception. Boom! A ox demon at the 5th level of celestial phenomenon with a height of several hundred meters soared through the air, as though it wanted to challenge Qin Wenyan's limits. This ox demon that was several hundred meters in height seemed to be forged from gold. Every step it took caused the heavens and earth to crumble apart. Its body shone with a blinding golden light, its eyes gleaming with an oppressive light. This ox demon definitely has the strength to suppress ordinary 5th-level ascendants. Qin Wenyan silently mused when he sensed the ox demon's might. He controlled the power of his constellation, wanting to crush the ox demon. However, he only saw the ox demon's eyes staring up at the sky as a fearsome long spear pierced through the air, colliding with the descending silhouettes, causing the spear to shatter apart. Is the true challenge about to begin? Qin Wenyan mused in his heart. Stepping out, his stature grew taller once again, as though he wanted to catch up to his opponent. Very swiftly, he grew to a height of 300 meters. A pair of gigantic golden rock wings appeared behind his back as he rushed out, borrowing the might of his constellation to blast out a heaven-suppressing fist light, wanting to destroy everything. Not enough. The ox demon howled in rage. His golden spear pierced through the skies, ignoring the distance between them, wanting to penetrate Qin Wenyan's body. Is that so? Qin Wenyan coldly snorted. The heaven-suppressing fist he blasted out manifested a fearsome ancient demon that gushed forth, suppressing everything in its path. When the two attacks collided, a terrifying tempest manifested. The fiend god heavenly suppression art can suppress immortals and devils. I won't be able to kill you. Qin Wenyan's heart was filled with arrogance. The fiend god light circulating around him was also extremely terrifying. He blasted out another fiend god heavenly suppression fist, causing the heavens and earth to tremble. Numerous true immortals and devils manifested from his fists, causing chaos in the heavens and earth. The long spear in the ox demon's hand spun as a gigantic golden roulette appeared. The runic diagrams on the roulette shone brightly as its defense was unparalleled. No matter how much energy blasted into it, it couldn't break through. The innate technique used by this ox demon was also an immortal art. Let's see who is stronger then. Qin Wenyan erupted forth, his astral souls manifested behind him. His violet gold astral soul manifested as a terrifying silhouette floated behind him. The fiend god heavenly suppression fist frenziedly blasted out, each and every punch was augmented by his astral soul and constellation. Each and every attack seemed to contain the suppression of a true fiend god, containing an aura capable of fighting against the heavens. The ox demon was unceasingly forced back. Finally, with a deafening sound, his defenses were shattered. His gigantic body of 500 meters was completely destroyed. Rumble! 8 fifth-level ascendant golden ox demons appeared at the same time, trampling through the air. This caused Qin Wentian's eyes to gleam with an even more terrifying light. Were they trying to suppress him to the limit? Chapter 803. The 8 1,500-meter-tall ox demons were all wielding terrifying golden spears in their hands. Just a single step forward was sufficient to cause the hearts of those who saw them to tremble. The pressure was too great. Although the battle hadn't started yet, Qin Wentian could already feel a stifling pressure bearing down on him. Although these 1,500-meter-tall ox demons were only at the 5th level of celestial phenomenon, their combat prowess was definitely sufficient to kill ordinary 5th-level celestial phenomenon ascendants with ease. Staring at the 8 ox demons advancing towards him, a fearsome battle intent erupted forth from Qin Wentian. Since the battle had started, how could he retreat? He had to press forward, breaking through his own limits. He also wanted to see how strong his current combat prowess was without the aid of divine weapons or external treasures. The constellation manifested from his astral soul bloomed to the extreme. Behind Qin Wentian, a gigantic shadow astral soul manifested. Behind him, a terrifying heaven-suppressing silhouette appeared, resembling a divinity. The might of his constellation revolved around it, blasting forth with boundless might. "Die for me!" Qin Wentian spoke with cold arrogance. As he stepped out, numerous gigantic suppression-type silhouettes flashed with dazzling runic light as they unceasingly slammed into the bodies of the golden oxen. A few booming sounds rang out as the 8 demonic oxen were all forced backwards. They only felt their bodies shuddering from the impact. They instantly knew how terrifying this astral soul was. Bzzz, bzzz. The 8 gigantic ox demons brandished their spears, stirring up the wind and clouds. In front of them, an incomparably gigantic diagram appeared. This diagram was in the shape of a circular arc, and shone with boundless golden light. It was like an ancient golden shield that no attacks would be able to break through. No matter how fearsome the suppression might slammed into it, they still advanced forward step by step, advancing towards Qin Wentian. How powerful! Qin Wentian exclaimed in shock. The boundless suppression might blasted downwards, yet it still had no way to break through the incomparably gigantic shield diagram. Although cracks could be seen on the shield, the light radiating from the 8 ox demons instantly repaired the cracks, forming a marvelous shield formation. Rumble! Qin Wentian rushed out. His gigantic body soared up into the air as boundless astral light cascaded down on him. He transformed into a true fiend god. With a flash of light, many of Qin Wentian's silhouettes appeared in the air, all of them incomparably gigantic. At this instant, the many Qin Wentian silhouettes all slammed downwards at the same time, their auras capable of destroying the heavens and earth. Rumble, rumble, rumble. One after another, their bodies slammed into the ancient shield. Finally, with a deafening sound, the ancient shield shattered. However, the long spears in the hands of the 8 demonic oxen pierced into the sky at the same time. The long spears intersected and shot out a beam of divine light, destroying everything in its path. Die! The spears swept out, piercing through the air, tearing apart the illusory silhouettes of Qin Wentian, its strength capable of shaking the heavens. Bzzz! Qin Wentian's wings flapped. His gigantic body was actually as swift as lightning. In an instant, he appeared in front of one of the silhouettes and blasted out a heaven-suppressing palm imprint. That terrifying runic light was enough to destroy everything. When a bull demon at the side saw this scene, it instantly pierced over with its golden spear. However, Qin Wentian simply lifted his left hand and slapped out. Boundless runic light appeared in the air, transforming into a fearsome shield. Cracking sounds rang out as the spear pierced through the shield. However, at the same time, Qin Wentian's gigantic palm imprint slammed into the chest of one of the demonic oxen. A destructive might gushed forth, and with a deafening boom, the body of that demonic ox exploded. Qin Wentian's silhouette flashed as he sped up into the air. However, he saw the 7 bull demons stomping on the ground at the same time as they soared up into the air. The spears in their hands clashed again, shooting out a beam of divine light that destroyed everything. Ta! Qin Wentian roared in rage. Both his legs stomped downwards, suppressing immortals and devils. A terrifying shadow blasted out, colliding with that beam of divine light. But despite that, Qin Wentian directly soared up into the air and floated there. Not bad. The bull demon king sitting on the throne spoke. With a wave of his hand, another bull demon appeared and moved towards Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian's eyes flickered. He glanced at the other 2 battlefields. Zi Qingshuan's battle speed was a little slower. She was still fighting against the demonic beasts a level higher than her. The speed of those demonic beasts was as fast as lightning. As for Jun Mengchen, he was fighting against the lion-tiger-like demonic beasts. His strength had already surpassed 2 levels. At this moment, Jun Mengchen seemed to be clad in a resplendent armor. His entire person exuded an unexcelled might, as though he was the king of the world. Just a single glance from him was sufficient to cause people to tremble. This junior brother Jun is so powerful. Qin Wentian's eyes flashed. After that, he returned to his own battlefield. Seems like he shouldn't be in a hurry to destroy these powerful war beasts. He should properly enjoy the process of fighting to the limit, gaining insights through combat. Maybe this was the purpose of the battle realms. Any experts who came here would be able to find the limits of their combat prowess and ultimately break through their limits. Upon thinking of this, Qin Wentian's state of heart relaxed a little. Staring at the 8 gigantic demonic beasts below, his silhouette flickered as he stepped out. Both his palms blasted downwards, as though 2 terrifying dragons were rushing out. The 8 demonic oxen attacked at the same time, directly breaking apart Qin Wentian's attack. After which, thunderous rumbling sounds echoed out as they sped towards 8 different directions, wanting to surround Qin Wentian within. The Annihilation Sword constellation and the Annihilation constellation appeared at the same time. Boundless sword light slashed downwards, as well as a terrifying suppression shadow. Qin Wentian's wings flapped as he dashed towards one of them. A long spear materialized in his hands as he abruptly stabbed out. This spear strike was like a bolt of lightning, containing boundless killing intent. The golden spear of the demonic ox also broke through the air, colliding with Qin Wentian's spear. A terrifying shockwave blasted into the bodies of the 2 of them. Qin Wentian borrowed the force of the impact to retreat, choosing another direction to attack. Although the situation was somewhat pressing, he was still able to handle it. This battle lasted as long as 3 days. Qin Wentian's earlier pinch was replaced with ease. It was as though his control over the various types of combat energy was getting stronger and stronger. In the past, he would always rely on his overwhelming strength to kill his opponents, and the duration of his battles would always be extremely short. He had never fought for a long period of time before. Now that he was in the battle realms, he could temper his innate techniques to perfection. If you deplete your astral energy, we can stop the battle and allow you to replenish it. The Ox Demon King on the throne spoke. Qin Wentian nodded his head, but he continued to battle. Only when the astral energy in his body was completely depleted did he stop. And during this process, he had slain quite a number of Ox Demons, but the Ox Demon King simply waved his hand and a new one would appear. Unknowingly, Qin Wentian had already fought for several months in the battle realm. His control over his constellation had also grown stronger. The fusion of true intense and true intense was also tempered through combat, gradually growing stronger. Today, the number of Ox Demons surrounding Qin Wentian had already increased from 8 to 32. The might of their attacks grew more and more terrifying. Only to see at this moment, in the battlefield, Qin Wentian stabbed out with his spear, causing the movements of the Ox Demons to slow down. With a rumbling sound, the body of an Ox Demon was directly crushed. Qin Wentian's long spear broke apart upon contact as he instantly retreated. Behind him, a terrifying shadow of his astral soul could be seen. The shadow of Qin Wentian's astral soul directly shot out in different directions, causing the ox demon to feel as though he was being surrounded. At the same time, Qin Wentian's silhouette also arrived. He was like a beam of light as his long spear pierced through the ox demon's body. However, a thunderous rumbling sound rang out as the ox demon's body exploded once again. His attack speed seemed to have increased. "It's about time," Qin Wentian silently mused. He stood in the air as an even stronger astral light radiated from him. His body seemed to be undergoing a transformation. "Suppress them for me," Qin Wentian roared in rage. A moment later, boundless suppressive silhouettes and sharp swords slashed out simultaneously. Qin Wentian's wings flapped as he moved like a bolt of lightning. Chi-chi. Numerous beams of spear light shot out like lightning, accompanied by the destruction of the ox demons. An instant later, the entire space turned silent. Qin Wentian floated in the air as his body underwent a transformation. The astral light around him grew even more dazzling. He was actually preparing to break through to the 4th level of celestial phenomenon. Not bad. After breaking through, he can directly fight against 6th level ascendants. The silhouette on the throne spoke. A look of admiration could be seen in his eyes. In addition, given Qin Wentian's overwhelming combat prowess, he could even fight against a 6th level ascendant without any pressure. If this was in the external world, he would definitely be able to fight against 7th level ascendants. Qin Wentian's body shimmered with a bright light as rumbling sounds rang out from within. The constellations in the surroundings shone brightly, and after a long time, his aura grew even more powerful. His eyes gleamed with sharpness as he stared at the demon lord on the throne with a smile on his face. "Fight!" Qin Wentian roared. The ox demon on the throne waved his palms, and a moment later, 4 6th level ascendants with the strength of 6,000 feet rushed towards Qin Wentian, their auras growing even more terrifying. Qin Wentian rushed out as the battle began. In the Battle Realm Palace, the 3 battles continued unceasingly. The 3 geniuses from the same sect forgot the flow of time as they immersed themselves in combat, not knowing exhaustion. In the external world, spring passed and autumn arrived. In the blink of an eye, 2 years had already passed since the battle in the Driftsnow City. Although the people of the Driftsnow City still remembered the shocking things that Qin Wentian had done before, they gradually stopped talking about it. Only when they arrived at the ancient Driftsnow City would they recall that soul-stirring battle. During these 2 years, in the ancient Driftsnow City, beside the 9 immortality bells, there would always be a beautiful silhouette. This silhouette was none other than Peiyu, causing people to feel pity for her. In the Battle Realm Palace of the Heavenly Talisman Realm, 3 silhouettes walked out. Jun Mingchen didn't forget to shout, "How exhilarating! Senior brother, your strength is truly powerful. At the end of the battle, even 64 6th level ascendants couldn't block your attack. Too powerful." Qin Wentian glared at Jun Mingchen as he spoke. "You are even more awesome, choosing not to fight at the end." Your king's aura erupted forth, causing all the demonic beasts to prostrate themselves before you. What sort of existence are you exactly? I'm truly too tired from fighting. When I saw my senior brothers and sisters coming out, I couldn't be bothered to continue. The contours on Jun Mingchen's face were extremely delicate. It was truly hard to imagine how ruthless he was right now. It was simply too shocking. Chapter 804. Qin Wentian and the other 2 exited the battle realm. The 3 senior brothers who led them here weren't here. This battle realm is truly mystical. I heard that anyone of any cultivation level can come here to temper themselves. The combat immortals here can adjust themselves according to our strength, and we can even choose different types of combat immortals. What a good place. Jun Mingchen spoke in a low voice. At this moment, 2 silhouettes flickered over. These 2 were none other than Fairy Su and the Saber Lord of Death. The senior brother who led Jun Mingchen here didn't come. You've exited, how do you feel? Fairy Su's gaze landed on Zi Qingxian as she asked. My improvement isn't small and I've broken through to the next level. Zi Qingxian replied. What about you guys? Fairy Su turned to Qin Wendian and Jun Mingchen. Me and senior brother Qin have also broken through to the next level. Senior brother Qin and senior sister Qingshuan's combat prowess is extremely strong, truly admirable. Jun Mingchen spoke. Fairy Su cast a deep glance at him and Qin Wenyan. From the conversation between the two of them, regardless of Jun Mingchen or Qin Wenyan, both of them were extraordinary characters with outstanding talent. Right now, she was no longer so confident that Zi Qingxian would be able to stand at the very top. Regardless of that transcendent senior brother or Bai Wuya, their judgment was extremely picky. How could the people they valued be weak? The Fairy Su nodded. There are very few missions in the Heavenly Talisman realm that are suitable for celestial phenomenon ascendants. However, one just so happened to appear today. Do you guys want to go take a look? Senior Sister Su, what mission is it? Zi Qingxian asked. In the immortal realms, the Eastern Sage 13 prefectures are governed by the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor. However, the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor resides in the Eastern Sage Immortal Palace and external affairs are handled by his subordinates. Under the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor, there's a transcendent power named the Dongshengshen Gate. The Dongshengshen Gate handles everything for the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor and is controlled by his disciples. Fairy Su slowly spoke to everyone. Every 100 years, the Dongshengshen Gate would hold a grand banquet specially for those below the Immortal Foundation realm. The celestial phenomenon ascendants of the Eastern Sage 13 prefectures are invited to gather at the Dongshengshen Gate of the Eastern Prefecture. The most outstanding batch of people would be able to obtain immortal arts, innate techniques, and all sorts of treasures. The true purpose of the Dongshengshen Gate is naturally to recruit outstanding juniors to nurture their strength. The most outstanding 3 would directly become an honorary disciple of the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor, and there's even a possibility that they might be accepted as his personal disciples. This time around, you guys can participate in the banquet and obtain immortal arts and treasures, tempering yourselves. At the same time, this is also a tempering exercise for you guys. If you become the most outstanding 3, you will be considered to have passed the test and the Heavenly Talisman realm will bestow you with peak-tier immortal arts. Fairy Su's voice caused the eyes of the 3 of them to flicker. As long as they succeeded, not only would they be able to obtain the innate techniques and treasures of the Dongshengshen Gate, they would also be able to obtain the peak-tier immortal arts of the Heavenly Talisman realm. However, the missions of the Heavenly Talisman realm were truly monstrous. It was so hard to find a mission that was suitable for celestial phenomenon ascendants. They had to become the most outstanding 3 out of the 13 prefectures before they could be considered to have passed the test. Didn't the Heavenly Talisman realm forbid us from entering the tutelage of others? Qin Wenyan curiously asked. He felt some resistance towards this mission because the other party was none other than the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor. This Dongsheng Heaven Emperor was truly lofty and lofty. With a single command, the entire Eastern Sage 13 prefectures would move out in unison. The strongest 3 were merely honorary disciples. No wonder back then when he descended to this particle world, he didn't even bother to look at the geniuses. It was simply too easy for him to accept disciples. Countless people would come begging to him. All he needed to do was to sit in the Eastern Sage Immortal Palace and wait. The mission this time around is only to obtain the top 3 spots. It isn't to enter the tutelage of the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor. The Saber Lord laughed. He then continued, if you guys really pass the test and obtain the immortal art and treasures, the Dongshengshen Gate will issue an order to recruit you guys as disciples. At that time, you guys better reject him. As the sound of his voice faded, a playful smile appeared on the Saber Lord's face. Qin Wentian's heart trembled. You guys better reject him if you want to obtain the immortal art and treasures? Reject him, reject the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor. Qin Wendian clenched his fists tightly. His eyes gleamed with a terrifying sharpness, exuding a hint of wildness. Back then, although the Eastern Sage Immortal Emperor father and son gave him a chance to recruit a disciple, in truth, from Dongsheng Ting's words, he could infer that the Eastern Sage Immortal Emperor was doing this intentionally, wanting to humiliate him. Qin Wenyan truly wanted to settle this debt with the Dongxing Heaven Emperor. However, the Dongxing Heaven Emperor was simply too powerful. He didn't even have the qualifications to meet him. The entire 13 prefectures were governed by him. Zi Qingshuan's countenance was as calm as ever. A wild smile also flashed on Jun Mingchen's face, causing Fairy Su's heart to tremble. These three fellows were indeed worthy of being the demon-level characters they recommended into the heavenly talisman realm. If ordinary people heard her words, they would surely be stunned or even panic. Rejecting the Dongxing Heaven Emperor wasn't something ordinary people would dare to do. In addition, they even wanted to obtain the immortal art and treasures of the Dongxing Heaven Emperor. This was simply a naked slap to their faces. However, these three fellows didn't have much of a reaction. Qin Wenyan and Jun Mingchen both had a wild gleam flickering in their eyes. As for the consequences of rejecting the Dongxing Heaven Emperor, since the Heavenly Talisman Realm had already issued this mission, they would naturally protect them. Given Qin Wenyan and the others' understanding of the Heavenly Talisman Realm, they didn't doubt this point at all. Do you guys want to take a look at the mission details yourself? Fairy Su asked. There's no need for senior sister. Should we directly move out and head to the Eastern Prefecture where the Dongshengshan Gate is located? Qin Wenyan asked. How can it be so fast? The Dongshengshan Gate has just issued this order. The true recruitment period for the Dongshengshan Gate hasn't arrived yet. In addition, it's impossible for all the geniuses of the 13 prefectures to gather at the Dongshengshan Gate. First, we have to go through a preliminary selection process. Each prefecture will select 1,000 geniuses before they head to the Dongshengshan Gate. If you guys wish to participate, the Sabersman will send you all out from the entrance he entered from and head to the Cloud Prefecture. Based on your talent, you all have to emerge victorious or you won't be qualified to be a disciple of the Heavenly Talisman Realm. Fairy Su spoke with cold arrogance, her words causing Zi Qingxian to interject. Senior sister, we will definitely not let you down. Other than you guys, there might be other disciples of our Heavenly Talisman Realm participating. However, it's enough for you all to know each other's existence. There's no need to acknowledge each other as it would attract unwanted attention. If you all die during the mission, the Heavenly Talisman Realm won't stand up for you. Fairy Su spoke again. Qin Wenyan and the others naturally understood that if they died, it would be because of their own incompetence. Even for the major powers in the external world, they wouldn't restrict their disciples too much. This was especially so for disciples who went out to temper themselves. Death was a common occurrence and the Heavenly Talisman Realm was even more lax compared to the other major powers. They wouldn't care about their disciples' matters, and if they died in battle outside, not many people in the Heavenly Talisman Realm would know about it. Understood. The three of them nodded. All right, follow me. The Sabersman spoke. After which, he waved his hands and brought Qin Wenyan and the others away. The Cloud Prefecture had a total of 81 counties and countless cities. However, the most flourishing city was naturally the Cloud Prefecture capital. This city was named after the Cloud Prefecture of the Cloud Prefecture and was the main city of the Cloud Prefecture. The Cloud Prefecture capital was an open-ended city that radiated a boundless amount of land. Right now, there were countless experts in the Cloud Prefecture capital. In the air outside the Cloud Prefecture capital, there would be experts soaring through the air. All of them were here for the selection test of the Cloud Prefecture. This was an opportunity that only appeared once in 100 years. None of the geniuses were willing to miss it. However, how could ordinary geniuses be able to grab hold of this opportunity? In the entire 13 prefectures, it was hard to imagine how many geniuses there were. Even though Qin Wenyan and the other two were extremely confident in themselves, they still didn't dare to say that they would be able to obtain the top 3 rankings for sure. It was too difficult. The 13 prefectures were filled with countless demon-level geniuses. Nobody knew what sort of characters would emerge from them. However, at the very least, they could guarantee that there wouldn't be any problems during the selection test. If they couldn't even obtain 1 out of 1,000, it would mean that they were useless. Halt! Right now, the Cloud Prefecture capital, this city that was open to the public, had a ban on flying. In the air outside the city, there was an army of Immortal Foundation experts patrolling the area. Once someone wanted to fly into the Cloud Prefecture capital, they would immediately be stopped. I heard that right now, there are 81 countries in the Cloud Prefecture. The troops of the various countries have all been mobilized here to guard this place. The people below silently mused. More and more experts were obstructed. Only Immortal Foundation experts with immortal light had the qualifications to continue flying through the air and enter the city. As for those below the Immortal Foundation realm, they had to pass the test before they could enter the city. If not, despite how vast the Cloud Prefecture capital was, it wouldn't be able to contain all the spectators of the Cloud Prefecture. At the same time, the true selection test had already begun outside the Cloud Prefecture capital. If one didn't even have the qualifications to enter the city, they wouldn't have the qualifications to participate in the selection test. This was also to prevent too many people trying to make up the numbers. Qin Wenin and the others were naturally stopped as well. They stood outside the Cloud Prefecture capital and stared at the armored troops. Seems like for this selection test, the Cloud Prefecture had made ample preparations. After all, the selection test this time around was a grand event of the Eastern Sage 13 prefectures. It was initiated by the Dongshengshan Gate, and the controllers of the 13 prefectures were all from the Dongshengshan Gate. If you want to enter the city to participate in the selection test, head to the testing area to participate. If you are only here to spectate, those below the Immortal Foundation realm are free to leave. The Cloud Prefecture capital will be temporarily sealed. A loud voice rang out from the air. Every once in a while, there would be someone calling out this sentence. That sinister voice caused countless people to be blocked outside the Cloud Prefecture capital. Brother Qin, let's go over. A person beside Qin Wenin spoke. This person was none other than Mu Yen. He and Qin Wenin were companions and came here together with the Saber Lord of Death. As for the identities of these people, the Saber Lord didn't say much and Mu Yen didn't ask as well. The rules of the selection test is to jump levels and battle puppets. For those who are a level higher, the challengers are puppets. Mu Yen and the others walked to the testing area. Before them, there were Immortal Foundation experts checking their cultivation bases. After that, there were rows of combat puppets. Evidently, everyone understood that there were too many people who wanted to participate in the selection test. Hence, even if this was the selection test outside the city, one would still need to have the ability to jump levels and battle puppets. Chapter 805. There are so many combat puppets. Qin Wenin glanced at the vast area ahead. There were several people currently accepting the challenges of the combat puppets. The prefecture lords of the Eastern Sage 13 prefectures are all from the Dongshengshan Gate, and this time around, the event was initiated by the Dongshengshan Gate. How would the prefectures dare to not do their best? Look at the Immortal Foundation experts patrolling the air. The resources of the prefecture are all being transferred to the Cloud Prefecture city. In addition to the fact that there are so many participants, how could there be a lack of combat puppets? Mu Yen crossed his arms in front of his chest as he spoke. What a grand formation, just like the world I came from. With a single call, hundreds would respond. The Eastern Sage 13 prefectures is a world that belongs to the Dongshengshan Gate. Jun Mingchen casually spoke. Mu Yen started, his world? This fellow's tone was truly arrogant. He didn't know where his master brought all three of them here from. Could it be that his master wanted to recruit all three of them into his sect? Mu Yen didn't know that these three could be considered his martial uncles. Also, the Saber Lord of Death wanted him to participate in the selection this time around because it wanted to temper him. If he could pass this test, the Saber Lord of Death would consider recommending him to join the Heavenly Talisman realm. Cultivation Base Inspection. Qin Wenin and the others walked to the front of the Immortal Foundation experts. Two of them swept their gazes over the four of them, and with a wave of their hands, an imprint appeared on the chest area of the four's robes. Qin Wenin had the word 4, indicating that his cultivation base was at the 4th level of celestial phenomenon. Mu Yan had the word 8, Zi Qingxian had the word 5, and Jun Mingchen had the word 3. Let's go over. One of them spoke. The four of them walked through a passageway in the center and arrived at the combat puppets area. There were already several people waiting here, all of them were participants of the selection. These puppets are so powerful. Regardless of attack or defense, they are all extremely balanced, and can completely be compared to the combat prowess of a stellar martial cultivator. It won't be easy for them to jump levels and challenge these puppets. Someone beside Qin Wenyan commented in a low voice. However, someone at the side glanced at the person who had just spoken and said, "If you're useless, then don't come here and embarrass yourself. Coming here to make up the numbers is just a waste of time. Furthermore, you should know that the selection later on might be life-threatening." Many people in the surroundings stared at the person who spoke. This person's tone was truly arrogant. There were many experts beside him, and each of them exuded an extraordinary aura. Especially two of them, they were like the stars surrounding the moon. Not everyone knows their own limits. Many people think that they are very strong, but that is only because they have never seen someone more outstanding than them. By the time they see someone more outstanding, it is already too late. The fact that so many people have come to participate in this selection is to be expected. "There is nothing strange about it," said the person beside him calmly. Qin Wenyan also glanced at this group of people. Although the words of this person weren't without reason, his tone was filled with arrogance and disdain. As for the two with the strongest aura, they didn't say anything. They only calmly stared at the combat puppets before them. "You step out." The Immortal Foundation expert at the front pointed to one of the two. This person had a crown on his head and exuded a heroic aura. Standing in the crowd, he gave off a feeling of a crane among chickens. His eyes gleamed with starlight as he exuded boundless spirit. He stepped out. With a cultivation base at the 6th level of celestial phenomenon, he directly appeared in front of a 7th level combat puppet. It will be easy for Eternal Wind to defeat this puppet soldier. That's only natural. For the selection test of the Cloud Prefecture this time around, Changfeng has already secured a slot. Many people laughed. At this moment, the young man with the crown on his head had already started fighting against the combat puppet. His constellation flashed as a silvery white light flashed in the air. A terrifying silvery metallic tempest manifested, and in an instant, terrifying divine weapons howled in rage as they slammed into the combat puppet. The combat puppet suffered from the attacks unceasingly, causing rumbling sounds to echo out. If this continued, it would most probably explode from the impact. Enough. The Immortal Foundation expert in charge of the battle spoke. Only then did the young man named Changfeng stop. "Wait over there." That Immortal Foundation expert pointed to a direction. After that, the young man walked over and calmly stood there. However, he could hear the sounds of discussion in the crowd. Changfeng, he's Yi Changfeng, a disciple of the Myriad Sage Sacred Academy. His talent is extremely high. Those with vast experience instantly recognized the young man. The Myriad Sage Academy had many faculties, and the Sacred Academy was a place to nurture the most outstanding disciples. This Yi Changfeng was from the Sacred Academy of the Myriad Sage Academy. "All of you step out." The Immortal Foundation expert who was supervising the battle pointed to a young man who was the moon surrounded by the stars, as well as a few others around him. That young man was clad in white and had black hair that fluttered in the wind. His long hair casually draped over his shoulders, exuding a carefree aura. "Duan Hong will definitely be more outstanding." Someone spoke. The white-robed young man with black hair walked out. His cultivation base was at the 7th level of celestial phenomenon, and he was facing against an 8th level ascendant. Only to see Duan Hong releasing his constellation as numerous terrifying ancient mountains manifested in the air. Each of them was over 100 meters tall. Duan Hong waved his hands as the ancient mountains slammed downwards, smashing towards the combat puppets. Terrifying rumbling sounds rang out, and an instant later, the Immortal Foundation expert in charge of the battle called for a halt, allowing Duan Hong to pass. As for the other participants, some were eliminated while others passed. Duan Hong of the Duan clan. It's rumored that his talent is the most outstanding among the younger generation of the Duan clan. Regardless of Yi Changfeng or Duan Hong, both of them passed the preliminaries in a domineering manner and stood together with those who passed. There were already over 80 participants gathered there, and with a single glance, only one or two of them could be compared to Yi Changfeng and Duan Hong. After that, the preliminaries continued. The number of people eliminated far exceeded the number of people who passed. Even among the group of arrogant young men from the Myriad Sage Academy, there were still many who were eliminated. Those who dared to participate in the preliminaries are all those who are more confident in their combat prowess. Yet, the elimination rate is still so high. Seems like it's truly not easy to filter the participants in the Cloud Prefecture City. But the preliminaries outside the city would be able to eliminate all those who are here to make up the numbers. Qin Wendian silently mused. At this moment, the Immortal Foundation expert in charge of the battle pointed his finger at Mu Yen as he spoke. The four of you, step out. Qin Wenyan and his companions all had different cultivation bases. They were all assigned to different combat puppets. The combat puppet in front of Qin Wenyan was in human form and had sharp eyes. This type of humanoid combat puppet was extremely powerful in both offense and defense. Bang! Qin Wenyan rushed out. Terrifying runic light circulated in his palms, incomparably resplendent. He directly blasted out with his palm. That humanoid combat puppet lifted its palm and collided with Qin Wenyan. Rumbling sounds of explosions rang out as the arm of the combat puppet directly exploded, spreading to its entire body. However, Qin Wenyan instantly retracted his strength and didn't shatter the combat puppet into pieces. Pass. The Immortal Foundation expert kept the combat puppet away as he spoke. At almost the same instant, Mu Yen, Zi Qingxian and Jun Mingchen all defeated their combat puppets. This scene caused the gazes of many to be filled with sharpness as they stared at them. Which major power were these four geniuses from? They were actually so powerful. Okay, bring them into the city. When Qin Wenyan and those who passed the test gathered together, there was an Immortal Foundation expert leading the way, directly leading them into the city. Only then did the guards at the city gate change direction, allowing the Immortal Foundation experts to enter the city. Within the city, there were people receiving them. This was a gigantic flying beast that was controlled by an Immortal Foundation expert. It was specially made to receive those who passed the initial test. Come on up. The Immortal Foundation expert on the flying beast spoke. After which, everyone mounted the gigantic flying beast, and in an instant, the flying beast let out a shrill cry as it soared into the air, directly soaring through the airspace of the Cloud Prefecture. Senior, where are we heading to? Jun Mingchen impatiently asked. The Holy Land of Combat in the Cloud Prefecture, the Cloud Heaven Arena. The next selection test will be held there. The Immortal Foundation expert replied. Everyone stood on the flying beast and stared at the vast ancient city below. It was extremely prosperous, and Immortal Foundation experts could be seen everywhere. There were also countless luxurious palaces and pavilions. The Cloud Prefecture City was the main city of the Cloud Prefecture. It was extremely vast. Even for an Immortal Foundation flying beast, it still took them 2 days to reach their destination. This made everyone understand why there were flying beasts to receive them. When they arrived at their destination, Qin Wentian's eyes gleamed with sharpness. His heart trembled as he stared ahead. What a magnificent battle platform! Beside him, Jun Mingchen exclaimed in admiration. The Cloud Heaven battle platform is the most famous battle platform in the Cloud Prefecture. This is the first time I've seen it. It's truly shocking. Mu Yen mumbled. He was also stunned by the scene before him. He had heard of the Cloud Heaven battle platform many times before, but when he saw it personally, he couldn't help but feel an intense impact. Numerous battle platforms shone with immortal light, floating above the clouds. Each and every one of them shone with a resplendent light, as though they were indestructible, able to withstand the immense pressure of combat. Above the entire sky, there were a total of 81 battle platforms. These 81 battle platforms were collectively known as the Cloud Heaven battle platforms of the Cloud Prefecture. In front of the Cloud Heaven battle platforms was none other than the Prefecture Lord Palace of the Cloud Prefecture. That vast stretch of palaces extended all the way to the skies, rising higher and higher. At the highest point of the palaces, it seemed as though they were at the same height as the Cloud Heaven battle platforms. This was simply unbelievable. Below was an extremely vast public square. The spectator stands at the highest point only needed to slightly incline one's head and they would be able to see the situation on the Cloud Heaven battle platform. At this moment, there were countless silhouettes gathered in this area. The selection battle had already begun, and there were thunderous roars echoing out from below. In the surroundings of the public square, there were troops patrolling the area, not allowing people outside to enter. Ordinary people could only spectate from the outside, but because the battle was happening on the Cloud Heaven battle platforms, they could still see it clearly. Next, this place shall be the battlefield for all of you. An expert riding on a flying beast pointed to the Cloud Heaven battle platforms as he spoke to the spectators. Beside them, there were even more flying beasts flying over. Evidently, more and more experts were being guided here. If this continued on, even after the preliminaries, the number of participants would still be astronomical. All the demon-level geniuses of the Cloud Prefecture were here. Chapter 806. On the flying beast, the geniuses stared at the Cloud Heaven arena only to hear Duan Hong asking, "What do we have to do to pass the selection test? What are the rules?" The rules are very simple. Do you see the battle halos of those experts on the Cloud Heaven arena? The Immortal Foundation expert pointed to the Cloud Heaven arena as everyone nodded their heads. Almost everyone had a resplendent battle halo around them. Some were strong, some were weak. The stronger the battle halo, the more resplendent it would be. The strength of the battle halos varies. On the Cloud Heaven arena, the battle halos would be born naturally. For those who won, they would be able to devour the battle halos of their opponents, stacking them on themselves. The weakest would be a 10-meter battle halo, a 100-meter battle halo, a 1,000-meter battle halo, and even stronger ones. That Immortal Foundation expert continued, "This selection test will last for 81 days. After 81 days, we will choose those with the strongest battle halos." Is it a chaotic battle of cultivation levels? Someone asked. If this was the case, those with lower cultivation bases would be at a great disadvantage. No, those with a lower cultivation base can challenge those with a higher cultivation base. If they win, not only would they be able to devour the battle halos of their opponents, the Cloud Heaven arena would also bestow additional colors to their battle halos. For those with a higher cultivation base, they cannot take the initiative to challenge those with a lower cultivation base. The Immortal Foundation expert continued, "Look at the vast public square below, there are countless silhouettes. Other than those spectating Immortal Foundation experts, the others might all be your opponents. Also, there will be more and more people coming. If you want to win, it won't be easy. Go on." Everyone nodded their heads as they flew towards the vast public square. Below, the battle chi on the Cloud Heaven arena seethed. Qin Wenin and the three of them walked side by side, only to hear Mu Yen laughing. The rules of this battle are truly direct. The strong plunder the weak, and they have to continuously defeat their opponents before they can plunder enough battle chi to become the final victor. But once they are defeated, their battle chi would be devoured, and they would have to start all over again. This is a battle that can only be won, not lost. Once we are defeated, the pressure would be immense. Qin Wendian nodded. After being defeated, there was still the simplest method, and that was to directly challenge those with resplendent battle halos and plunder their battle halos. However, for those with strong battle halos, it was already a representation of their strength. How could it be so easy to plunder their battle halos? Fortunately, the probability of us being defeated in the same realm is very small. A wild smile flickered in Jun Mengchen's eyes. His words contained a strong sense of self-confidence. Indeed, to the three of them who came from the Heavenly Talisman realm, It was extremely difficult to find someone who could defeat them at the same level unless that person was a demon-level genius like them. This fellow is even more arrogant than Chang Feng. Someone at the side glanced at Jun Mingchen. There were so many geniuses in the Cloud Prefecture. Yi Changfeng and the others believed that he would be able to secure a spot in the top 1,000, but they didn't dare to say that no one in the same cultivation level could defeat him. After all, this selection was held in the entire Cloud Prefecture. There were countless geniuses. You might be strong, but there were others who were even more monstrous. The Yunzhou is far too big. Not to mention the most dazzling heaven's prides, there are countless hidden geniuses. By the way, Mu Yen, which day of the selection battle is today? Qin Wendian suddenly asked. The selection battle was held for 81 days. It's already the 8th day. We can be considered to be early. Mu Yen replied. For those who came late, they would have to directly challenge those who have already obtained powerful battle qi. That way it would be faster, but the difficulty would be higher as well. As they spoke, their silhouettes had already landed on the public square. The experts around them were as common as the clouds. They were either Immortal Foundation experts or geniuses who wanted to participate in the selection battle. If we are late by too much, I'm afraid we wouldn't have any chance at all. An Immortal Foundation old man laughed. Qin Wendian and the others turned their gazes to him as they asked, Senior, why do you say so? Don't you guys know that the battle qi in the Cloud Heaven Arena has the ability to amplify one's combat prowess? The stronger the battle qi, the more terrifying your combat prowess would be. If you can condense a 10,000-meter battle qi, your combat prowess would increase by 10 times. At the end, for those with less battle qi, your accumulations wouldn't be able to surpass those before you. For those with exuberant battle qi, it would be extremely difficult for you to defeat them. That Immortal Foundation old man smiled as he reminded, his words causing Qin Wendian and the others to start. After which, they replied, Many thanks for Senior's reminder. No worries. I can see that the few of you have extraordinary auras and should be the juniors of the major sections. Why didn't you guys come with your elders? Look at those geniuses from the major sects, they are all surrounded by experts. Their sects are all hoping that they can obtain victory and head to the Dongshengshan Gate of the Eastern Prefecture to pay their respects to the Eastern Sage Immortal Emperor. That Immortal Foundation old man laughed. Qin Wendian swept his gaze over this vast area. There were indeed many battle platforms here with experts as common as the clouds. For some of the major powers of the Cloud Prefecture, there were many experts from their sects accompanying them. After Yi Changfeng and Duan Hong arrived here, they directly flew in a certain direction. Naturally, they were heading towards the location where the experts from their sects and clans were gathered. Young people have lofty aspirations. However, the road ahead is filled with obstacles. The Eastern Sage Immortal Emperor sits high up on the throne. How can ordinary people have the chance to meet him? As for wanting to enter his tutelage, it's too difficult. That Immortal Foundation old man sighed, yet he didn't notice the wild smile in Jun Mingchen's eyes. He came here to participate in this battle because of the mission given by the Heavenly Talisman Realm. His purpose wasn't to pay his respects to the Eastern Sage Immortal Emperor but rather, to reject him. To him, this was merely a test, a chance to temper himself in the Eastern Sage 13 prefectures, fighting against the experts of the 13 prefectures. Naturally, to Qin Wendian, there was another layer of meaning to this test. He was very much looking forward to being able to stand before the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor and reject him. Senior, it's precisely because the road ahead is filled with obstacles that life is even more fascinating. Jun Mingchen's smile was as bright as the sun as he spoke. That's right. Young people with such a temperament, how marvelous. The old man laughed. I'm filled with anticipation for your performance. Old Senior will definitely not be disappointed. Jun Mingchen replied. After which, the four of them inclined their heads and stared at the battle platform in the air. I'm filled with anticipation. The Immortal Foundation expert laughed heartily. His gaze roamed the surroundings and he could see the various major powers of the Cloud Prefecture occupying their own territories, exuding a majestic aura. Their disciples were all at different cultivation levels. How would it be so easy for these four little fellows to ascend the Cloud Heaven battle platform? In the airspace above the Prefecture King's palace in the Cloud Prefecture, many experts were gathered. There were actually many powerful experts gathered in the airspace above the palace. In the center was none other than the Idle Cloud Immortal King. The Idle Cloud Immortal King governed the Cloud Prefecture and was extremely powerful. He set up a throne in the air and sat on it. The people beside him were all experts from the Prefecture King Palace. In the seats below him, there were many experts from the major powers. These people were all people with extremely high statuses in the Cloud Prefecture. The experts sitting in the air were all immortal kings, the lords of their respective major powers. Not only that, they were the lords of the strongest major powers in the Cloud Prefecture. Big Brother Mu Yun is so powerful. He's at the 7th level of celestial phenomenon and there's no one who could defeat him on the battle platform. Right now, he has already condensed a battle halo of a few hundred meters. Beside the Idle Cloud Immortal King, a young lady around 20 years of age stared at a young man on the battle platform as a look of worship flashed in her eyes. Mu Yun naturally isn't bad. He would definitely be able to obtain a 10,000-meter battle halo. I actually hope that not only would he have a 10,000-meter battle halo, he would also be able to change the color of his battle halo. The Idle Cloud Immortal King laughed. Evidently, he held Mu Yun in high regard. Young Master Mu Yun is truly powerful. It wouldn't be a problem for him to jump levels to fight. He would definitely be able to obtain a violet gold battle halo. Beside him, an immortal king from the Battle Heaven's immortal manor laughed. Zhou Zhan, don't be so humble. The Battle Heaven's immortal manor has always been proficient in combat. This time around, there are many geniuses from your Battle Heaven's immortal manor competing for the battle halo. The Idle Cloud Immortal King laughed. Zhou Zhan was an immortal king from the Battle Heaven's immortal manor. His combat prowess was extremely high and he had an extraordinary status in the Cloud Prefecture. Immortal King, on that battle platform, Zhou Teng with a cultivation base at the 3rd level of Celestial Phenomenon is the youngest son of the Battle Immortal King. His combat prowess is extremely high and right now, he already has a battle halo of a few hundred meters. Someone at the side reminded, his words causing the Idle Cloud Immortal King to laugh. I've long heard that you, Zhou Zhan, wanted another son. To think that you would bring him here. Not bad. There are also many 3rd-level ascendants on the other battle platforms, but they are all intentionally avoiding your youngest son, Zhou Teng. The various major powers all have a tacit understanding. Someone at the side laughed. Every time a supreme genius from the various major powers appeared on a battle platform, the others would naturally give way, not wanting to compete against them. At the very least, they wouldn't do so during the early stages. Maybe at the later stages, the competition would reach a climax and the participants would all clash violently. Someone took the initiative to leave the Cloud Heaven arena. Are there any geniuses who would like to fill up the vacancy? At this moment, the Idle Cloud Immortal King stared at an empty battle platform as he laughed. Wu Yang, you go ahead. Not far away, a figure seated on a throne spoke. This person was none other than a peak power of the Cloud Prefecture, the Suppression Immortal Sect. Wu Yang was over 10 meters tall, much taller than ordinary people. His entire body exuded a sense of might and his cultivation base was at the 4th level of Celestial Phenomenon. He soared up into the air and directly stood on the battle platform. Suppression Immortal Sect, Wu Yang. He roared, his voice shaking the heavens. The Suppression Immortal Sect, this man must be extremely powerful. Many of those who were preparing to challenge him silently mused as they shifted their gazes away. With someone from the Suppression Immortal Sect acting, there's no one else who dares to accept the challenge. Those major characters on the thrones chatted and laughed. But at this moment, they saw a young man in white with flowing black hair slowly walking up the Cloud Heaven arena. Interesting, someone actually accepted the challenge. The eyes of the crowd flickered as they stared at that young man. Merely courting death. The immortal king of the suppression immortal sect spoke arrogantly. However, several people here let out exclamations of shock. The idol cloud immortal king's senses were extremely sharp. He could sense something strange. Many experts from the major powers stared at the young man who just appeared as their eyes gleamed with sharpness. The successor of the Drift's now master, Qin Wenin. A voice rang out. Although it wasn't loud, it was extremely clear. In just an instant, in this vast space, the voices gradually faded away, growing softer and softer. Chapter 807. 2 years ago, a major event happened in the Cloud Prefecture. The Jiang clan founded by Jiang Chao, the sacred ground for weaponsmithing in the Cloud Prefecture, was destroyed in a single day, leveled to flat ground. This matter shook the entire Cloud Prefecture. There wasn't a single person who didn't know about it. All the major powers were paying attention to it, wanting to know who it was exactly that destroyed the Jiang clan. Finally, the news circulated out. The person who destroyed the Cloud Prefecture was none other than a legendary character from the Drift's now city of the Jiangling country, someone who had already passed away. This man was none other than the Drift's now master. Hence, everything regarding the Drift's now master as well as what happened in the Drift's now city was dug out by others. Shocking news circulated around the entire Cloud Prefecture, becoming the topic of discussion. Nobody would have thought that the Jiang clan would be annihilated because of a minor character at the 3rd level of celestial phenomenon. And even more so, nobody would have thought that so many major powers of the Cloud Prefecture would be annihilated because of a minor character at the 3rd level of celestial phenomenon. That legendary Drift's now master could also be considered a peerless genius. Sadly, he had long died, his soul fused with the weaponized city. The commotion 2 years ago caused 2 names to resound through the entire Cloud Prefecture. One of them was naturally the Drift's now master, while the second was none other than Qin Wenin. And at this moment, the young man on the battle platform, the Drift's now master, as well as Qin Wenin. The successor of the Drift's now master, Qin Wenin. Gradually, the voices in this vast space grew softer and softer. Countless gazes turned to Qin Wenin, staring at the white-robed figure on the battle platform. This man, was he Qin Wenin whose name shook the world 2 years ago? And now, he appeared on the battle platform. In terms of fame, Qin Wentian's fame was even more resounding compared to any other ascendants of the Cloud Prefecture. Not only that, in this place, there were many major powers that still had a deep grudge with Qin Wentian that had yet to be resolved. Interesting, this young man actually appeared here. On the throne in the air, the idol cloud immortal king had an expression of interest on his face as he stared at Qin Wenin. This brat actually dared to leave the weaponized city to appear. Manor Lord, many people of our battle heaven's immortal manor have died because of him. Now that we no longer have the weaponized city, we will definitely get the geniuses of our sect to kill him on the Cloud Heaven arena. An expert from the battle heaven's immortal manor coldly spoke. He had a descendant who went to the Drift's now city and died there. When he saw Qin Wenin, he naturally felt hatred for him. This brat needs to be killed. An expert from the Myriad Sage Academy coldly spoke. He actually appeared. This time around, he has to die on the Cloud Heaven arena. A voice rang out from the direction of the 9-Peak Immortal Academy. Many people from the major forces wanted to kill Qin Wenin. Back then in the Drift's now city, Qin Wenin had offended too many people. Many of them were from major powers of the Cloud Prefecture. And now, these major powers all came to the Cloud Heaven arena to spectate. When they saw Qin Wenin leaving the weaponized city to participate in the selection, how could they spare him? So senior brother is so famous. Among the crowd below, Jun Mingchen saw that the atmosphere gradually turned silent. Countless people were staring at the Cloud Heaven arena where Qin Wenin was at as bewilderment appeared in his heart. Wasn't this fame a little too great? Everyone's attention was focused on him. Before this, none of the geniuses had such rallying power. Zi Qingshuan's eyes also flickered with a strange light. She glanced at Mu Yen who was beside her only to see Mu Yen smiling. Back then this fellow obtained a weaponized city and was coveted by many major powers. A great battle occurred and many people died there, hence he offended many. No wonder. That battle must have been a spectacular one, or it's impossible for it to have such an impact. Jun Mingchen smiled. Mu Yan nodded his head lightly. That battle had indeed caused an uproar for a period of time. At this moment, on the Cloud Heaven battle platform, the instant Qin Wenyan stepped onto the platform, a halo of battle qi could be seen revolving around him. This halo of light was over 10 meters in size, and contained a surge of battle might within it. One could clearly feel the existence of this battle qi. His opponent was the same as well. The halo of battle qi around him indicated that this was his first battle as well. This man had a muscular physique and was over 3 meters tall. Just by standing there, he gave off an intense pressure. Wu Yang naturally also sensed the change in the atmosphere. After which, his eyes flickered as though he suddenly thought of something. He stared at Qin Wenyan and spoke, "You are the Qin Wenyan who caused such a commotion in the Drifts Now city 2 years ago?" "That's me." Qin Wenyan nodded lightly. "Good, I shall use your life to commemorate my first battle on the Cloud Heaven arena." Wu Yang's eyes flickered with excitement. Stomping his feet, a terrifying pressure gushed towards Qin Wenyan, causing Qin Wenyan's countenance to stiffen. Suppression energy, this Wu Yang actually cultivated the same type of energy as him. Only to see Wu Yang's entire body was shrouded by a suppressive light as he frenziedly rushed towards Qin Wenyan. Every step he took caused boundless might to surge forth, his aura surging wildly. Those who could stand on the Cloud Heaven arena had already passed the preliminary selection and were able to jump levels to fight. And as a heaven chosen of the Suppression Immortal sect, Wu Yang's combat prowess was naturally extremely high. Bzz. Instantly, astral light flashed as his dream world constellation appeared. In just an instant, Wu Yang seemed to have fallen into a dream space. "Mph," Wu Yang coldly snorted. His constellation flashed as numerous stone tablets appeared in the air. Each of the stone tablets shone with a terrifying light as a suppressive might gushed forth. Wu Yang waved his hands as the stone tablets shot out in all directions, wanting to suppress Qin Wenyan's constellation. At the same time, some of the stone tablets shot towards Qin Wenyan. A long spear appeared in Qin Wenyan's hands. His illusory demonic energy was infused into the tip of the spear as he abruptly stabbed out. With a deafening boom, a stone tablet directly exploded apart. The speed of his attack was so fast that it was inconceivable. However, Wu Yang merely waved his hands as numerous stone tablets flew over. However, the long spear in Qin Wenyan's hand danced in the air as beams of spear light pierced out with the speed of lightning. The instant the spear touched the stone tablets, the sounds of explosions rang out unceasingly as the stone tablets shattered into pieces. Every spear strike was extremely accurate and ferocious. A pair of wings unfurled on Qin Wenyan's back as his silhouette flickered, shuttling through the constellation. Wu Yang waved his hands as the numerous stone tablets gathered together, transforming into an incomparably gigantic stone tablet that directly smashed downwards. The terrifying might of the stone tablet locked onto Qin Wenyan, wanting to suppress him. Qin Wenyan's long spear was like lightning as it pierced into the gigantic stone tablet. However, the spear was instantly shattered as the terrifying suppressive might slammed into Qin Wenyan, causing him to retreat in retreat. "You are truly useless after leaving the weaponized city. Choosing me for the first battle, I can only say that this is the stupidest thing you have ever done in your entire life, directly leading to your death." Wu Yang continued moving forward, only to see Qin Wenyan's eyes flickering as he silently mused, "This man's cultivation base is the same as mine, there's no need for him to prove himself by jumping levels to challenge him. As a heaven chosen from a major power, his combat prowess should be at the boundary of jumping 2 levels. This selection test is truly filled with crouching tigers and hidden dragons." This man was forced into retreat by Wu Yang. Seems like his strength 2 years ago was only because he borrowed the might of the Drifts Now city. Although his combat prowess is strong, it's still far from his reputation. The spectators mused as they stared at the battle in the air. Jun Mingchen asked in bewilderment. Senior, why are you concealing your strength? He and Zi Qingxian were very clear that although Wu Yang's combat prowess was extremely high, it wouldn't be difficult for Qin Wenyan to defeat him. If my performance is too domineering in the first battle, how would I be able to plunder battle qi? Mu Yan laughed, his words causing Jun Mingchen to blink. His senior brother was actually so sinister? Seems like you are truly too weak. Only to see Wu Yang stepping out with great strides. The stone monuments expanded once more, floating in the air as they frenziedly shot towards Qin Wenyan. Each and every one of the stone monuments contained a tyrannical might within. Qin Wenyan's silhouette flickered as he dashed forward. His long spear was like a bolt of lightning, striking out with such speed that it dazzled the eyes of the spectators. And at this moment, an illusion appeared in Wu Yang's mind. It was as though there were countless spears shooting towards him from all directions, exuding a terrifying light. Illusion. Wu Yang's will was resolute. He instantly knew that this was an illusion. He saw Qin Wenyan's long spear piercing out from the gaps between the stone monuments. But this strike still required time. He was completely capable of blocking it. Qi! A light sound rang out as his throat was pierced through. Qin Wenyan's silhouette was like a shadow as he appeared in front of him with the long spear in his hands. The tip of the long spear was pierced through the throat of his opponent. This bizarre spear strike was fatal. You underestimate my constellation too much. This is the dream realm we are in right now. Qin Wenyan mumbled as he pulled out his long spear. An instant later, Wu Yang collapsed to the ground. His battle halo was directly devoured by Qin Wenyan's battle qi, causing Qin Wenyan's battle qi to soar by 10 meters. Wu Yang. The experts from the Suppression Immortal sect trembled. How could this be? Wu Yang actually died in battle? There were experts who came to clean up the battle platform. Qin Wenyan wielded his long spear as he stood there quietly. He didn't leave and continued to accept challenges. Bizizi. A raging wind gusted by, only to see a silhouette soaring up into the skies, landing on the cloud heaven arena. His gaze was incomparably sharp as he stared at Qin Wenyan. Stepping out, his killing intent gushed forth. Battle heaven's immortal manner, Zurius. This person's countenance was filled with killing intent. He was none other than the brother of Zurius, an expert from the Battle Heaven's immortal manor in the Drifts Now city. Both of their appearances were somewhat similar. His anger towered up into the sky as his killing intent soared to the clouds. He directly lunged towards Qin Wenyan, blasting out with both his palms, causing the heavens and earth to tremble. You are still inferior to Wu Yang. Qin Wenyan's eyes flickered. He directly abandoned the long spear and rushed out with lightning speed towards Xinjian. His body was clad in runic armor, incomparably resplendent. When he blasted out with his palms, it was as though two gigantic star-seizing palms were grabbing out at the starry space, wanting to destroy everything. His palms collided with Xinjian's palms and a deafening sound echoed out. Xinjian screamed in agony as his arms directly exploded, after which, a palm imprint blasted into his body, shattering his vitality. Qin Wenyan's battle halo directly gushed out, devouring the battle qi of his opponent. As for Zurius, he directly fell down the battle platform. Chapter 808. Zhou Xingyan. The expressions of the experts from the Battle Heaven's immortal manor turned ashen. Zhou Xingyan was defeated, dead. Seems like he isn't as weak as we imagined. He's a truly terrifying demon-level character. The spectators stared at Qin Wenyan only to see him standing at the edge of the Cloud Heaven arena. His eyes were filled with coldness and arrogance, as though he had no intentions of leaving the arena. He still wanted to fight. Who can go and kill him? Only to see that among the experts from the Battle Heaven's immortal manor, Zhou Zhan coldly spoke when he saw the arrogance in Qin Wenyan's eyes. This young man obtained 2 victories, yet he was still so arrogant. It was as though in his eyes he had nothing in his eyes, not even putting immortal kings in his eyes. In our Battle Heaven's immortal manor, there aren't many outstanding 4th-level ascendants. Other than Zhou Xingyan, there's another one with extremely strong combat prowess. It's just that he's currently on another battle platform and has already obtained a battle halo of 100 meters. Beside Zhou Zhan, an elder-level character pointed to another battle platform in the air. Over there was an expert with battle chi revolving around him, exuding an aura that could devour the heavens. He was invincible and undefeatable. This person is Wanfu Ho and has battle halos on him. His attacks are extremely terrifying, and he's the one with the highest chance of becoming one of the top 1,000 in our Battle Heaven's immortal manner. That elder slowly spoke. Zhou Zhan was an immortal king, and usually, he didn't pay much attention to the Battle Heaven's immortal manner. Other than some of his personal disciples who were at the Immortal Foundation realm, he would leave the management of the sect to the juniors. In that case, let Wanfu Ho kill him. Zhou Zhan coldly commanded, his words causing the eyes of that elder to flash with sharpness. After which, he nodded and spoke to the battle platform in the air. Wanfu Ho, go and kill Qin Wenyan on that battle platform. The gazes of the spectators turned in the direction of Wanfu Ho. He was currently in the middle of a battle, exuding a 100-meter battle halo that exuded a fearsome might. His opponent was being suppressed by him, and an instant later, the victor was already decided. Wanfu Ho's fists contained battle halos and directly destroyed his opponent, exuding a tyrannical aura. Roger! After killing his opponent, Wanfu Ho's terrifying eyes swept over to Qin Wenyan. After that, his silhouette flickered as he soared up into the air, directly landing on Qin Wenyan's battle platform. Wanfu Ho from the Battle Heaven's immortal manner is extremely famous and is much stronger compared to Zhou Xingyan. Now with a 100-meter battle halo around him, his combat prowess would definitely be even more terrifying. I wonder if Qin Wenyan would be able to stand against him. The Wanfu King over, the Jing Emperor, the immortal Emperor Heavenly Wu, Emperor's Qin's Wu. He naturally hoped that in his Cloud Prefecture, the stronger the demon-level geniuses were, the better it would be. In that case, when they head to the Eastern Prefecture to participate in the final selection, they would have a chance to perform outstandingly and wouldn't be suppressed by the other 12 prefectures. And if one of the 3 chosen to enter the Eastern Sage Great Emperor's tutelage was from the Cloud Prefecture, he would also have face. The pressure Wanfu Ho gave Qin Wenyan was even greater compared to Wu Yang. A 100-meter battle halo coiled around him like a dragon, exuding an imposing aura. Only to see Wanfu Ho's silhouette shuddering as he released his constellation. In the air, golden light filled the entire sky as countless golden diagrams appeared, forming into terrifying battle halos. These battle halos unceasingly imprinted themselves onto Wanfu Ho, causing him to radiate a fearsome battle might that was incomparably sharp. His combat aura soared several times over. Boom! Wanfu Ho stepped out, causing thunderous rumbling sounds to echo out unceasingly. The battle halos trembled madly as golden light illuminated the sky. Within the boundless golden light, Wanfu Ho punched out, causing the entire space to tremble. His terrifying golden fist light penetrated through the void, aiming straight for Qin Wenyan. Not bad. Zhou Zhan from the Battle Heaven's immortal manner praised. What sort of character was he? The instant Wanfu Ho attacked, he could already feel his aura. How could an ordinary 4th-level ascendant have such terrifying might? Under the might of such an attack, let alone a 4th-level ascendant, even ordinary 5th-level ascendants would die without a doubt. Wanfu Ho has cultivated the Battle Heaven's divine fist to an extremely high level. Given his comprehension and talent, once he steps into the Immortal Foundation realm, he would definitely be able to slay immortals with a single punch. The spectators at the side were also very satisfied with Wanfu Ho's attack. Just this strike alone was sufficient to cause people to sigh in admiration. However, right now, Qin Wenyan's body shone with resplendent runic light, as though an armor of runic light was revolving around him. His body emitted a rumbling sound as his physique underwent a transformation. His palms shone with a terrifying astral light as his eyes gleamed with a demonic light. Strands of violet gold light revolved around him as a fearsome suppressive might gushed forth. Rumble! Qin Wenyin blasted out with his palm as resplendent palm imprints erupted forth, suppressing the heavens and earth. It was as though there were terrifying giants within the palm imprints. The battle heaven's divine fist slammed into the heaven suppression palm imprints, causing terrifying rumbling sounds to echo out, shaking the heavens and earth. Boom! Only to see Wanfu Ho madly dashing out as his constellation in the air lit up. He lifted his palms only to see Qin Wentian's palms slamming out in the air at an even faster speed than him. Rumble, 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 a terrifying might bore down on him, shaking the heavens and earth. Numerous palm imprints manifested from the void, directly slamming into Wanfu Ho's battle halo. Wanfu Ho's eyes flashed. He punched out with both his fists, directly shattering the void palm imprint. However, Qin Wentian's body similarly bore down on him, showing no fear at all. His suppression constellation flashed as a terrifying suppressive might clashed against the constellation of his opponent. Numerous terrifying silhouettes actually manifested, blasting away at Wanfu Ho's battle rings. Die! Qin Wentian's star-seizing palm imprints seemed to be able to pluck out the sun and moon, reaping lives away. Scram! Wanfu Ho roared in rage, punching out with his fist as the light radiating from him grew even more intense. However, at this moment, he could truly sense the power radiating from Qin Wenyin. That was an indomitable will, a boundless sharpness that could suppress the heavens and earth. Qin Wentian's eyes were terrifying to the extreme as his suppression constellation gushed forth. Wanfu Ho only felt that he had to use all his strength to resist the pressure from his constellation, let alone the fact that Qin Wentian's palm imprints towered up into the sky. Both his palms struck out in a frenzy, capable of destroying the heavens and earth. How powerful! The spectators below only saw numerous heaven suppression palm imprints as well as star-seizing palm imprints blasting out, pressuring Wanfu Ho so much that he had no way to breathe. He could only depend on the towering battle rings around him to defend himself. But if this continued on, he would be engulfed by the palm imprints sooner or later. In a breath of time, countless collisions occurred. Finally, the spectators saw that Wanfu Ho could no longer endure and was injured. After that, a gigantic palm imprint took advantage of the opening, directly slamming into his face. With a thunderous boom, such a terrifying strike directly killed Wanfu Ho. His body was blasted out of the cloud heaven arena as yet another heaven chosen fell from the air. Defeated, dead. The 100-meter battle halo was devoured by Qin Wenyin. At this instant, the battle halo radiating from Qin Wenyin seemed to emit the roars of thunder and wind. He slowly walked to the edge of the cloud heaven arena as his gaze swept over the world, exuding an unexcelled aura. How weak, there's no threat at all. Qin Wenyin spoke in arrogance. As the sound of his voice faded, the sound of tsunamis actually drifted over from afar, causing the countenances of those from the battle heaven's immortal manor to turn ashen. Zhou Zhan's eyes stared at the vast space as his countenance turned incredibly unsightly. Those spectators from afar were all extremely excited. It seemed like a demon-level character with magnificence throughout the generations had appeared. Not only that, this person had a glorious past in the Drifts Now city. Many of the participants were thinking, what would happen if they were on the same battle platform as Qin Wenyin? Is there no fourth-level ascendance from my battle heaven's immortal manor capable of killing him? Zhou Zhan coldly asked. The people in the surroundings all had ashen expressions, not knowing how to reply. Wanfu Ho could already be considered the strongest among those at this level. For the other cultivation levels, the Battle Heaven's immortal manor still had more outstanding geniuses. But for this level, there was truly none. Sadly, his cultivation base is only at the 4th level of celestial phenomenon. If he was at the 5th level, he would have died for sure. An elder at the side coldly spoke, intentionally changing the topic. But how could Zhou Zhan not understand the meaning behind his words? Coward! Zhou Zhan coldly spoke. The others didn't dare to reply. Don't worry, for those who came to challenge me, as long as they don't have the intention to kill me, I won't kill them. Everyone can feel at ease and fight. Qin Wenyin involuntarily spoke when he saw that no one wanted to challenge him. His words caused many to set their hearts at ease. Earlier, those who challenged him were indeed aiming for Qin Wentian's life. I've long heard of Qin Wentian's name. Since this is the case, let me challenge you. An elegant young master stood on the Cloud Heaven arena and accepted the challenge. There were no exceptions, he was defeated. However, after Qin Wenyan defeated his opponent and seized his battle chi, it was true that he didn't injure his opponent too heavily. This caused many to set their hearts at ease. Many geniuses attempted to challenge Qin Wenyan, but all of them were defeated one after another. In a short span of a few hours, Qin Wenyan consecutively won over 100 battles. His battle chi had already reached a height of 500 to 600 meters, enveloping his entire body. Jun Mingchen also couldn't wait any longer. He stepped onto the Cloud Heaven arena and stood beside Qin Wenyan. Although he was at the third level of celestial phenomenon, he was also extremely domineering, seizing a battle chi of 100 meters in a short period of time. Zi Qingxian was the same as well. She was one platform away from Qin Wenyan and had also obtained several victories. Only Mu Yen had yet to act. He smiled at the three of them in the air, wondering which power did these three fellow disciples join exactly? Why was their master able to bring them along? They were actually all so powerful. Senior brother, this feels great. Jun Mingchen smiled at Qin Wenyan. After which, he turned to Zi Qingxian. Senior sister, you can do it. We have to become the three most dazzling in terms of battle chi. Arrogant. Arrogant brat. Below, a cold voice rang out. The spectators already knew that these three were actually fellow disciples. No wonder they were born from the same mold, so arrogant that they didn't know the immensity of the heavens and earth. They actually wanted to become the three most dazzling geniuses of the Cloud Prefecture? This was simply disregarding the geniuses of the Cloud Prefecture. Although they were all very dazzling, these words were simply too arrogant. However, this also caused those major powers who had grudges with Qin Wenyan to be puzzled. Could it be that this fellow really had a powerful master backing him? Chapter 809. On the Cloud Heaven arena, there were many gazes directed towards Jun Mingchen who was speaking. On the 81 battle platforms, there were a few extremely tyrannical characters. The battle halos of their bodies were over 1,000 meters in length, and there were even some geniuses who had battle halos of over 10,000 meters. Their battle halos soared up into the sky, resembling heavenly divinities. The selection battle had already been going on for a few days, and the battles were fought one after another. The strongest few remained undefeated, accumulating battle halos of 10,000 meters. Those who could accumulate 10,000 meters of battle halos were undoubtedly geniuses who stood at the peak of the Cloud Prefecture. Their original strength was already extremely terrifying, and in addition to the augmentation from their battle halos, no one would be able to shake them. Before this, they had always been the most dazzling characters on the Cloud Heaven arena. It was only after Qin Wenyan appeared and because of the things he did in the Drifts Now city, did the attention of many people shift to him? But as the sound of Jun Mingchen's voice faded, two other participants with battle halos of 10,000 meters turned their gazes onto the three of them. Sadly, our cultivation bases are different. If not, I will make it so that you will never be able to step onto the Cloud Heaven arena ever again. One of them coldly spoke. This person had a cultivation base at the 5th level of celestial phenomenon and was a disciple of the Cloud Tower Sage sect. His name was Zhu Xian, and he was one of the three most outstanding disciples of the Cloud Tower who participated in the selection battle this time around. If you are at the same level as me, I will take your 10,000 meters of battle halos for myself. Jun Mingchen grinned. His handsome face had a harmless look on it. However, his words were sufficient to offend too many people. Zhu Xian, this man is truly arrogant. The other participant with a 10,000-meter battle halos was also an outstanding genius of the Cloud Prefecture. His cultivation base was slightly stronger, at the 6th level of celestial phenomenon. He calmly smiled and walked down the Cloud Heaven arena, After fighting for so long, it's about time for me to take a break. Let's leave the Cloud Heaven arena to others. Gu Chen, why don't you accumulate 100,000 meters of battle halos in one go? Zhu Xian laughed. There's no rush. Gu Chen calmly replied. In an instant he returned to the ground below. Instantly, many people gave way to him. A true demon-level genius was respected by everyone. Many people looked at Gu Chen with admiration in their eyes, but also with battle intent. Although your cultivation is different from that arrogant brat's, her senior sister's cultivation is similar to yours. Defeating her will be the same. In the direction of the Myriad Sage Academy, an expert shouted towards the Cloud Heaven battle platform. Evidently, he was talking to Zhu Xian. That's true. Zhu Xian smiled. He then glanced at Zi Qingxian. It's just that I can't bear to bully a beauty like her. Zi Qingxian inclined her head and stared at Zhu Xian as she spoke, shameless boasting. Hearing this, Zhu Xian's eyebrows flashed and he smiled. If that's the case, then I won't hold back. As the sound of his voice faded, he walked towards Zi Qingxian. A towering battle halo radiated from him, exuding an incomparably imposing aura that could crush everything. Senior sister, let these people take a look. Jun Mingchen spoke. After which, he turned his gaze to the person from the Myriad Sage Academy who spoke earlier. Pointing his finger in that direction, his handsome countenance was still filled with arrogance as he spoke. What's so great about instigating others? You can order your juniors to fight me. I'll challenge a third-level ascendant of your sect. Impudent. That expert from the Myriad Sage Academy berated. Didn't your elders teach you how to speak to your seniors? An evil smile appeared on Jun Mingchen's face. My elders only taught me how to teach those scoundrels a lesson. If you don't dare to fight, just shut up. Disciples of my Myriad Sage Academy, if you defeat any one of them, you will be heavily rewarded. That old man raged. Being provoked by a junior like this, it was truly a loss of face. Also, this brat was as brazen as Qin Wenin. I'll go kill that arrogant brat. Below, a young genius stepped out. This was none other than a disciple from the Myriad Sage Academy. That old man praised. An instant later, that young man arrived at the battle platform Jun Mingchen was at. As he stepped on it, killing intent radiated from him. Just based on you? Your aura is so weak, yet you're still qualified to be called a heaven's chosen? Jun Mingchen's handsome countenance suddenly turned incomparably sharp. He opened his mouth and roared in rage, Scram! This long roar shook the heavens and earth as a storm of destruction manifested. Sometimes, it felt like 10,000 demonic beasts were galloping, trampling everything. Sometimes, it felt like 10,000 weapons were unleashed, slashing apart the void. Every single gust of wind within this storm contained a terrifying killing might. That expert from the Myriad Sage Academy only felt the terrifying sharpness of the blades slashing into his body. Astral light flashed around him as he tried to protect himself. However, with a thunderous boom, his defenses were directly shattered as the destructive storm of energy gushed forth. That young man had a horrified expression on his face. His body felt like it was disintegrating into countless particles under the terrifying might of the storm. Bang! With a deafening sound, the body of that young genius exploded, turning into dust that scattered away with the wind. Jun Mingchen stopped his roar. The crowd stared in shock at that handsome young man. Right now, his gaze was so sharp that it was terrifying. His eyes gleamed with a light akin to a king's light. Just the look in his eyes alone caused people to feel reverence from the bottom of their hearts. Another freak. The hearts of the crowd trembled as they silently cursed. Seems like there would be many demon-level geniuses appearing in the selection battle of the Cloud Prefecture this time around. This young man before them was so young and arrogant. Although his tone sounded impatient, no one expected him to have such terrifying combat prowess. With a single roar, he killed a heaven's chosen at the same level. Those who could stand on the Cloud Heaven arena had already proven that they had the ability to jump levels to fight. Yet they were still insta-killed by a single roar. From this, one could see how powerful this young man was. I'm afraid the people from the Myriad Sage Academy aren't strong enough. Qin Wenin naturally understood the strength of this fellow Jun Mengchen. When he saw the ashen expressions on the faces of the experts from the Myriad Sage Academy, he didn't forget to add another knife to the blade. His tone was filled with arrogance. On the other arena platform, the battle between Zhu Xian and Zi Qingxian had already erupted. Zhu Xian's battle halo revolved around him. When his constellation was released, there were actually tens of thousands of gigantic palm imprints floating in the air. Each palm imprint contained a terrifying might. It was as though the entire sky was filled with his divine imprints. When he attacked, the countless palm imprints blasted out, capable of shaking the heavens, slaying even gods. Watching Zhu Xian's battle was extremely pleasing to the eyes. That kind of majestic might cause the spectators to truly feel how strong a celestial phenomenon ascendant was. Zhu Xian's constellation was evidently formed from the fusion of many true intents. Not only were his palm imprints powerful and violent, they were also extremely fast and incomparably heavy. Each and every one of the divine imprints seemed to be able to crush the heavens and earth. Under his attacks, Zi Qingxian was in an extremely passive position. She could only rely on her speed to evade, but she was still forced to retreat unceasingly. His attacks are truly powerful. Seems like those who can obtain a 10,000-meter battle halo are also extraordinary characters. In addition to the augmentation effect of his battle halo, his combat prowess has increased by multiple folds. Zi Qingxian is clearly in a passive position. However, Zi Qingxian hasn't truly started her battle yet. Qin Wenin silently mused as he glanced at the battle over there. At this moment, Zhu Xian's myriad heaven's divine imprints bore down on Zi Qingxian as he spoke in arrogance. You are not my opponent. Let me send you down. Bizizi. As the sound of his voice faded, a terrifying golden flame erupted from Zi Qingxian, shooting up into the sky. Her entire body seemed to be on fire, as resplendent as the sun. Her eyes flickered with a soul-stirring light as a supremely powerful bloodline energy erupted forth from her. Do you really think you are very strong? Zi Qingxuan's eyes gleamed with a golden light akin to the sun. Her entire body was bathed in blazing flame inscriptions. Stepping out, a constellation manifested in the air. However, her constellation was even more dazzling compared to the sun, with numerous golden divine falcons manifesting within it. Behind her, the shadow of an incomparably gigantic golden divine falcon appeared. On her back, a pair of incomparably resplendent divine falcon wings could be seen. Below, many people stood up straight as they stared fixedly at Zi Qingxian. The might of her bloodline was so powerful, even from so far away, they could faintly feel the pressure radiating from Zi Qingxian. Zhu Xian was also stunned. Evidently, he didn't expect that the maiden standing in front of him would actually be so terrifying. Bizizi. A resplendent light flashed as Zi Qingxian transformed into a beam of light, akin to a divine falcon as she dashed towards Zhu Xian. At this moment, all of Zhu Xian's strength erupted forth. His palms condensed ancient imprints as his constellation manifested. Boundless divine light blotted out the skies, blasting towards Zi Qingxian. Zi Qingxuan's eyes gleamed with a towering light. Terrifying beams of light erupted forth, directly shattering the palm imprints in front of her. At the same time, she grabbed out with her palms as countless divine falcons flew out together with her, destroying everything in their path. Those incomparably resplendent palm imprints were all destroyed one after another. Zi Qingxian had no obstructions at all as she rushed towards Zhu Xian. You are still not qualified to speak to me. An arrogant voice rang out from Zi Qingxuan's mouth. She blasted out with her palms as a fearsome divine falcon manifested, directly penetrating through Zhu Xian's body, passing right through him. Zhu Xian's entire body trembled as a look of terror appeared on his face. His battle chi was frenziedly drained away as the 10,000-meter battle halo directly entered Zi Qingxuan's body. A thunderous boom rang out as Zhu Xian's body dissipated into the air, transforming into golden flames that dissipated into the wind. Zi Qingxian, who had obtained a 10,000-meter battle halo, was bathed in the glow of the divine falcon. She was like a goddess of the heavens, unexcelled in this world. Her golden eyes swept over the crowd, and everywhere she passed by, ordinary people didn't even dare to look into her eyes. She was like an innate goddess of war, possessing an incomparably powerful battle physique and a supremely terrifying bloodline. Senior sister is awesome. Jun Mingchen praised. This battle was truly breathtaking, causing the gazes of everyone to be focused on her. Staring at the three of them on the battle platform, the spectators could feel a domineering light radiating from them. Where did these three originate from? If the people of the Drift Snow City saw this scene, they would definitely not doubt Qin Wentian's words about him being from a supreme power. Chapter 8:10. Zi Qingxian. This person's name is Zi Qingxian. She's from the same sect as Qin Wentian and Jun Mingchen. Which sect did these three originate from? The spectators stared at the three supreme figures on the battle platforms. If one were to say that before they killed Zhu Xian, the three of them only displayed how outstanding they were. But after Zi Qingxuan's battle, the halo around them grew even brighter. A 10,000-meter battle halo could amplify one's strength by several times. Zhu Xian was originally already a demon-level character, and in addition to the augmentation from his battle halo, he was still killed by Zi Qingxian. This indicated that Zi Qingxuan's strength wasn't just a single level higher compared to Zhu Xian. Zhu Xian was a demon-level genius from the Cloud Tower Sacred Sect. The Cloud Tower Sacred Sect was the core power of the Cloud Prefecture, and their seats were right beside the Idol Cloud Immortal King and the others. At this moment, many from the Cloud Tower Sacred Sect stood up from their seats and stared at Zi Qingxian, who was on the battle platform, as a terrifying light flickered in their eyes. Zhu Xian not only had his 10,000-meter battle halo plundered, he was directly killed, not even having a chance to reascend the battle platform. His Cloud Tower Sacred Sect had also lost an outstanding genius. Zhu Xian was originally one of the top rankers of the Cloud Prefecture, but now he actually died. Who can kill these three? An expert from the Cloud Tower coldly spoke. These three were simply too arrogant, not knowing how to restrain their sharpness. These three truly deserve death. An expert from the Myriad Sage Academy added in an ice tone. Many experts from the major powers wanted the lives of Qin Wentian and the others. However, it truly wasn't easy to kill these three at the same level. Ordinary geniuses wouldn't be able to do so. If you want to kill us, feel free to come. But you better be mentally prepared to be killed. Jun Mingchen spoke with cold arrogance. Me, my senior brother and sister will occupy these three battle platforms until the end of the selection battle. This fellow is getting more and more arrogant. The more people infuriate him, the more arrogant he gets. The spectators below silently mused. The appearance of these three caused the atmosphere on the battle platforms to be filled with the smell of gunpowder. The truly fascinating battles were about to begin. On the other battle platforms, there were also some demonic characters that gradually displayed their brilliance, seizing resplendent battle halos, incomparably dazzling. A silhouette appeared on the battle platform where Jun Mingchen was. As soon as this person appeared, exclamations of surprise could be heard from below. After that, a series of earth-shattering roars could be heard. It seemed like countless people were looking forward to this battle. It's Yan Tianen. This man used a total of 5 days to accumulate a 10,000-meter battle halo before exiting the Cloud Heaven arena. Although he's only at the 3rd level of celestial phenomenon, the instant he released his constellation, he was simply invincible, killing whoever he met. At the end, no one dared to challenge him, hence he exited the Cloud Heaven arena. Yan Tianan definitely has a high chance to be ranked within the top 100 of the Cloud Prefecture. His strength is extremely terrifying. Many people whispered, causing those who came later to feel their hearts surging with emotions. Seems like this was going to be a battle between experts. This Jun Mingchen's strength was too overbearing, able to kill his enemies with a single roar. But this Yan Tianen similarly hasn't met an opponent yet. Now that the two of them clashed, it would definitely be a heaven-shaking battle, causing many to be filled with anticipation. Cold expressions appeared on the faces of many experts from the major powers. Who told this fellow to be so brazen? Now that he met Yen Tianan, only death awaited him. I initially didn't want to act so early. I wanted to wait until you obtained a 10,000-meter battle halo before I made my move to defeat you. Yen Tianan stared at Jun Mingchen as he spoke. However, your words have successfully stirred my interest. I'm afraid you won't be able to remain on the Cloud Heaven arena any longer. Are you very strong? Jun Mingchen stared at Yen Tianan as the wild light in his eyes grew even more intense. It was as though the stronger the challenger was, the more intense his interest would be, stimulating the wildness and desire for battle in the depths of his heart. 10,000 meters of battle halo. Even if you amplify it by 10 times, I can still defeat you with ease. Jun Mingchen's eyes gleamed with a fanatical light as his battle intent gushed forth. Arrogant. Yen Tiannan's silhouette drifted forwards. With a wave of his hands, a bright light flashed as his constellation appeared. In this starry space, 10,000 elephants galloped about, causing the space to tremble unceasingly. Behind Yen Tianan, a divine elephant that was over 100 meters tall appeared, exuding a divine majesty that was inviolable. Above the divine elephant, a towering halo of light could be seen, exuding a battle chi that could trample the heavens. Yen Tiannan's divine elephant constellation has appeared. This is a constellation that can trample the heavens and earth. Its might is simply too terrifying. This Yen Tianan definitely has a tyrannical bloodline and a unique physique. The spectators mused silently when they saw this scene. After which, Yen Tianan waved his palms as 10,000 elephants slammed downwards. Their hooves trampled the heavens and earth, causing the entire space to be filled with a sense of pressure. Each and every one of the war elephants seemed to have transformed into a supreme force. Millions of war elephants were akin to millions of trampling force. Even before the attack landed, Jun Mingchen's body was already trembling unceasingly. The terrifying halos of the war elephants slammed over, trampling his body. At this moment, the scene of an apocalypse seemed to have arrived. A third-level ascendant can actually be so tyrannical to such an extent. This Yen Tianan is simply too terrifying. He would definitely be ranked within the top 100. The spectators mused in their hearts. Upon seeing Yen Tiannan's attack, the sounds of tsunamis and tsunamis rang out from below. With such a tyrannical attack, they wanted to see how that arrogant young man would be able to defend against it. Roar! An earth-shattering roar rang out. The entire space around Jun Mingchen transformed into a desolate battlefield. With a single roar of rage, countless ancient war beasts as well as millions of divine weapons gathered within the tempest, wanting to annihilate everything. Rumbling sounds rang out as the attacks of the two of them collided. The millions of war elephants slammed into each other, clashing against the tempest, causing the heavens and earth to shatter. Die! Yen Tianan took a step forward. Resplendent holy light revolved around his body, and the might of his battle force frantically erupted. The divine elephant behind him let out a heaven-shaking roar, terrifying to the extreme, determined to break through everything. Only to see at this moment, within that incomparably resplendent tempest, Jun Mingchen was clad in a layer of resplendent battle armor as a fearsome king aura radiated from him. His eyes no longer contained any gentleness, only a boundless sharpness that could pierce through the hearts of others. It was as though just a single glance from him would cause people to submit. Countless spectators below stared at Jun Mingchen as their hearts trembled. Such a temperament, a complete transformation, transforming into an ancient war god. What sort of divinity was this Jun Mingchen? Scram! Jun Mingchen roared once more. He was like an ancient king, a war god. This roar of his caused numerous tyrannical war generals to appear in the air, slashing through all obstacles for him. These war generals were clad in armor and frenziedly destroyed everything in their path, killing the war elephants one after another. Yen Tianan and Jun Mingchen were facing each other. The shock in his heart was the most intense. He couldn't imagine that there would actually be such a terrifying character in this world. With a single roar, he could summon ancient war generals to fight for him. What sort of character was this to have such might? A beam of fist light blasted over. It was as though tens of thousands of war generals were working together, as well as an absolute king's fist, capable of penetrating through everything. Behind Yen Tianen, a divine elephant glow enveloped him as a 10,000-meter battle chi revolved around him. Countless war elephants galloped over, protecting him. The destructive might of the attack blasted over, causing the war elephants to howl in agony as their battle chi was destroyed. Yen Tianen borrowed the momentum to retreat, but that king's fist still blasted out. With a thunderous boom, his entire body trembled from the impact, but he had already left the Cloud Heaven battle platform. The 10,000-meter battle chi from his body was directly stripped away. Jun Mingchen slowly walked over, his battle chi devouring the 10,000-meter battle chi. This Cloud Heaven battle platform was also extremely mystical. As long as one was defeated and left, their battle chi would immediately be stripped away. But if they left by themselves, it wouldn't be the case. The crowd only saw the Holy King walking to the edge of the platform, coldly staring at the heavily injured Yen Tian. A 10,000-meter battle chi revolved around him, making him seem even more unexcelled in the world. Right now, his strength had increased by 10 times. Who could still defeat him? Unless one obtained enough battle chi from the other platforms before fighting him again. But even so, Yen Tianan was still defeated despite having a 10,000-meter battle chi. It was simply too difficult to defeat this young man. The atmosphere below first turned silent, but after that, a deafening roar shook the heavens and earth. Yen Tianan was defeated, heavily injured, and almost lost his life. That king who stood on the Cloud Heaven battle platform, at this moment, no one could sense the arrogance in his words earlier. It was as though it was only right for this young king to be so arrogant. How powerful, Yen Tianan isn't his opponent at all. The hearts of the spectators sighed. The eyes of those from the major powers shone brightly. Such characters, if they were to encounter them, they would have long since accepted them as disciples and nurtured them. Not only that, there were 3 of them appearing at the same time. The 3 of them were all extremely powerful. Qin Wenin connected immortal smithing in the Drifts Now city, and his name shook the entire Cloud Prefecture. However, up till now, he could be considered the most mediocre among the 3 of them. From this, one could very well imagine how terrifying these 3 were. Naturally, no one knew how strong Qin Wenin was exactly. After all, the strength of his opponents was limited. If one wanted to know the limits of a person, they would have to fight against an extremely powerful character. An example was Zhu Xian and Yen Tianan. Their appearance allowed the spectators to see how powerful Jun Mingchen and Zi Qingxian were. Only a strong opponent could serve as the best foil. The Immortal Foundation old man who was chatting with Qin Wenin and the other 2 earlier was also in a daze. After which, he shook his head and laughed. He didn't expect that these juniors he met would be so powerful. How miraculous! Flying beasts circled in the air as more and more experts arrived. The number of demon-level characters that appeared on the Cloud Heaven arena grew more and more. Qin Wenin, Jun Mingchen, and Zi Qingxian stood on the 3 Cloud Heaven arena platforms and had yet to be defeated. In the blink of an eye, a month passed. More and more terrifying characters appeared on the 81 Cloud Heaven arena platforms. Some of them were undefeated on the Cloud Heaven arena, seizing towering battle halos. At this moment, Jun Mingchen had a battle halo of 30,000 meters. Zi Qingxian had a battle halo of 30,000 meters. Qin Wenin had a battle halo of 25,000 meters. These 3 all had the chance to seize a battle halo of 100,000 meters, shaking the heavens and earth. Chapter 8:11. The Cloud Prefecture would select 1,000 experts from the Cloud Heaven arena and head to the Eastern Prefecture to participate in the grand banquet at the Dongshengshan Gate. The duration of this round of selection was divided into 81 days, and right now, more than half of the time has passed. The demon-level geniuses of the Cloud Prefecture were almost all present. After 40 days of battles, some of the most outstanding demon-level characters were gradually revealed and were known to everyone. These people had yet to suffer a single defeat and were recognized as the seed geniuses of the Cloud Prefecture. They would be a powerful force that would head to the Dongshangshan Gate and have a chance to fight for the chance to enter the Dongshangshan Gate. As for becoming the top 3 rankers of the 13 prefectures, becoming one of the most dazzling geniuses and becoming a disciple of the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor, nobody dared to think about this for now. At the very least, they had to be far ahead of the others in the selection round of the Cloud Prefecture before they would have such an opportunity. After all, other than the Cloud Prefecture, there were still 12 other prefectures and it was unknown how many supreme geniuses there would be. Also, as the geniuses of the Cloud Prefecture gathered here, the speed of the battles grew faster and faster. The 81 Cloud Heaven Arena platforms didn't even have the time to take a breather as they welcomed the battles one after another. Some of the weaker geniuses wanted to use the Cloud Heaven Arena to temper their combat prowess. They continuously fought on the platforms and were defeated again and again. At the end of the battles, the anger in the hearts of the geniuses was ignited, and once they won, they would show no mercy and directly kill these people. If not, it would be meaningless to plunder the battle chi of these people. Right now, there were many experts with 10,000-meter battle halos. Some of them would stay on the Cloud Heaven Arena as though they wouldn't feel fatigue. But there were also some who loved to hunt. They would go up and plunder the battle halos of those who had the most battle halos before coming down to rest and prepare for the next hunt. This cycle repeated over and over again, and the speed of plundering battle halos was extremely fast. Hence, there were many experts who had battle halos of 100, 1,000 or even thousands of meters. Because they had no way to guarantee that their battle halos would be able to rank within the top 1,000. Hence, they had to plunder their battle halos through combat. However, the eyes of the hunters below gave them an immense sense of pressure. There was a possibility that powerful geniuses would appear at any moment and plunder their battle halos. In addition, such incidents had already happened many times on the Cloud Heaven Arena. However, even though there were many outstanding geniuses, Qin Wenin and the other 2 were still among the most dazzling heavenly sons. Up until now, the 3 of them had yet to lose a single battle. This made it so that those peerless geniuses didn't dare to provoke the 3 of them. If they lost, their battle chi would be taken away, so the geniuses were all very cautious. Another problem was also becoming more and more obvious. As those monstrous geniuses plundered 10,000-meter battle chi halos, it became increasingly difficult to defeat them. As a result, the more powerful they became, the more difficult it would be for those behind them to defeat them. The Idol Cloud Immortal King sat peacefully on his throne, feeling extremely satisfied with this selection battle. As for the grudges between the major powers and the other participants, he didn't really care much about it. After all, at his level, celestial phenomenon ascendants couldn't be considered anything. The distance between them was too far. From ancient times until now, those who broke through to the Immortal King realm within 10,000 years were already considered demon-level characters. These people still had a long way to go. Back then, wasn't he also young and arrogant as he roamed the world, showing off his brilliance? Up until now, those true geniuses have already revealed their brilliance. Idol Cloud Immortal King, who do you think has the qualifications to head to the Dongshangshan Gate of the Eastern Prefecture to contend against the geniuses of the 13 prefectures? Someone smiled as he asked the Idol Cloud Immortal King. In truth, he was asking who the Idol Cloud Immortal King thought most highly of. Haha, I also want to know what the Idol Cloud Immortal King thinks. Zhou from my Battle Heaven's Immortal Manor has a cultivation base at the 8th level of Celestial Phenomenon and is born for battle. He should be able to enter the eyes of the Idol Cloud Immortal King, right? Zhou Zhan from the Battle Heaven's Immortal Manor laughed. Before this, although he was provoked by Qin Wenin and the others, he still had the bearing that an immortal king should have. Since he had no way to kill those 3 on the Cloud Heaven Arena, he could only temporarily forget about it. Zhou should be a descendant of your Battle Heaven's Immortal Manor, right? He cultivates many immortal arts from your battle heaven's immortal manner and has an extremely high level of comprehension. In addition to his battle-type astral souls, he is truly incomparably dazzling and can be considered as one of the most dazzling geniuses on the Cloud Heaven arena this time around. The Idol Cloud Immortal King commented, his words causing Zhou Zhan to smile in satisfaction. For a character like the Idol Cloud Immortal King, there was basically no need for him to flatter anyone. The strong is the strong, the weak is the weak. He naturally wouldn't speak nonsense. That fellow Mu Yun isn't bad as well. His brilliance is gradually revealed and he would definitely be one of the top 10 characters this time around. The Idol Cloud Immortal King laughed again. His gaze landed on one of the battle platforms. There was a junior of his, Mu Yun, a 7th level ascendant. That little fellow Mu Yun is truly powerful. He would definitely have a chance to join the Dongshengshan Gate. The spectators at the side nodded. There are 2 outstanding characters from the Myriad Sage Academy, Yi Changfeng and Qi Fan. They should be disciples of the Sacred Academy, right? The Idol Cloud Immortal King laughed. Yi Changfeng had a cultivation base at the 6th level while Qi Fan had a cultivation base at the 5th level. Idol Cloud Immortal King has good judgment. These 2 are disciples of our Sacred Academy and are extremely outstanding. An expert from the Myriad Sage Academy nodded. Xia Hanjiang from the Cloud Tower Sacred Sect isn't bad either. The Idol Cloud Immortal King continued. This Xia Hanjiang's cultivation base was at the 6th level of Celestial Phenomenon. Pang Shanyue from the Suppression Immortal Sect, his combat prowess is extremely strong. The 2 geniuses nurtured by the Amorsize residents, Zhuge Yi and Zhuge Yu, are both extremely powerful. The Amorsize residence is the wealthiest power in the Cloud Prefecture. You guys should have spent a lot of effort on them, right? As the Idol Cloud Immortal King spoke, he turned his gaze onto a major power at the side. This was none other than the Amorsize residence whose name shook the entire Cloud Prefecture. It's because these 2 brothers are so powerful. An expert from the Amorsize residence laughed. What about Guchen? Isn't he very strong as well? Someone asked. Although Guchen isn't bad, I'm afraid he's still inferior in front of these people. In addition, there are 3 other fellows over there. Any one of them is more outstanding compared to Guchen. His talent should only be on the same level as the Saber Lord of Death's disciple Mu Yen. The Idol Cloud Immortal King pointed to Qin Wenin and the other 2 as he laughed. Naturally, other than these people, that Gu Zhantian, although I have no idea who nurtured him, he's also extremely powerful. His name is Tyrannical and I'm guessing that he might be the descendant of Madman Gu from many years ago. The eyes of everyone flickered as they stared at a young man below the battle platform. This young man exuded a terrifying battle chi, and even though he was standing below, he was still extremely dazzling. There was no one else in the surroundings. All of them would retreat when they saw him. Hearing the Idol Cloud Immortal King's words, it does seem like it. An Immortal Foundation expert from the older generations replied. Madman Gu was a legendary character back then, causing great waves of commotion in the Cloud Prefecture. He once fought against many major powers alone, forcefully uprooting many of them, and after that, even he himself died in the process. If this Gu Zhantian was his descendant, he would definitely be an extremely dangerous character. Also that Xiao Hong and Su Yeqing. Although I have no idea where they came from, their combat prowess is extremely high and their talent is at the peak. The Idol Cloud Immortal King commented one by one. Are there no 1st level and 9th level ascendants? Someone curiously asked. For now, we haven't discovered any outstanding characters at these 2 levels yet. As for those at the 9th level, because of the selection outside the city, we have to send some of them to the Immortal Foundation realm. Hence, there are many participants at the 1st level of Celestial Phenomenon as well. Although there are quite a few with 10,000 meters of battle chi, it's a pity that there's no one that could shock me yet. Let's hope that there will be some in the later stages. The Idol Cloud Immortal King slowly spoke. I basically agree with the Idol Cloud Immortal King's judgment. As expected, The people he pointed out are all outstanding characters with outstanding talent. I wonder what their rankings are in the idol cloud immortal king's heart? An expert curiously asked. This is truly difficult. The three I'm most interested in are Gu Zhantian, Jun Mingchen and Mu Yun. The feeling Gu Zhantian gives me is extremely strong. Jun Mingchen is young and has terrifying potential. He's different from everyone else. It's like he was born to be a king. As for Mu Yun, he is my descendant. I naturally have high hopes for him. The idol cloud immortal king laughed as he spoke. Secondly, I'm more optimistic about Zhou Yu, the Zhuge siblings, Qi Fan, Zi Qingxian and Xiao Hong. These people are all extraordinary as well. Lastly, Yi Changfeng, Xia Hanjiang, Pang Shanyue, Su Yeqing and Qin Wenyin. The idol cloud immortal king slowly spoke as he smiled. Naturally, these people are all extraordinary and they have yet to unleash their full strength. What I can see is merely the surface of their strength as well as some of my own conjectures. It's highly possible that my judgment might not be accurate. For example, Qin Wenyin sometimes gives me a feeling of ordinariness, but this ordinariness contains a shocking amount of energy. At the very least, up until now, no one has been able to defeat him. However, he didn't give me the same feeling as his junior apprentice brother Jun Mingchen. The rumors about him in the Drifts Now city shook the entire Cloud Prefecture. I'm actually hoping that he would be able to display the same level of arrogance here and let me know that I've misjudged him. Maybe he can only do this much. An expert from the Nine-Peak Immortal Court at the side spoke. In their sect, there wasn't a single person who was valued by the idol cloud immortal king. However, they had nothing to say. The idol cloud immortal king's judgment was extremely accurate and it was truly difficult for their disciples to stand shoulder to shoulder with these people. The battles continued unceasingly. Unknowingly, more than half of the 81 days had already passed. There were already 63 days and there were only 18 people left. During these days, everyone could clearly see how accurate the judgment of the idol cloud immortal king was. Other than a few supreme geniuses who stood out at the back, those whom he valued earlier were all undefeatable and triumphant. Even the weakest among them had a battle halo of 50,000 meters. It was extremely terrifying. The stronger the expert, the stronger they were. Given their own strength as well as the augmentation from their battle halos, it was basically impossible for anyone to defeat them unless they fought against them themselves. Senior brother, you have to work harder. Me and Senior Qingxian both have a battle halo of 100,000 meters. At this moment, Jun Mingchen smiled as he spoke to Qin Wenyin. He naturally wouldn't doubt Qin Wentian's strength. He only felt that Qin Wenyin was too low profile. Right now, he only had a battle halo of 60,000 meters and there were quite a few people who were catching up to him. Right. Qin Wenyin nodded his head. His gaze roamed around the Cloud Heaven arena and an instant later, his gaze locked onto a supreme genius who also had a battle halo of 60,000 meters. This person was none other than Xiao Hong, who was at the same cultivation level as him. Chapter 8:12. Xiao Hong's combat prowess was extremely powerful. He only appeared at the very end and the moment he acted he had already plundered the battle chi halos of so many experts, allowing his own battle halo to reach 60,000 meters in a short period of time. In addition, when he announced his name, he didn't mention which sect or power he was from. There was a possibility that he was from a mysterious power, or he might have relied on his own cultivation to achieve this. But if it was the latter, it would be even more terrifying. For the most outstanding geniuses here, the vast majority of them originated from major powers. The reason was very simple. For those with outstanding talent, it was easy for them to attract the attention of others when they were young. After that, they would be accepted into the major powers and receive special nurturing, guidance from experts, tyrannical cultivation arts, as well as various tempering methods. All of these would help them to grow rapidly. Hence, relying on one's own strength to grow was naturally much more difficult. But at the same time, if one relied on their own strength to grow to the same level as those from major powers, that person would be even more unfathomable and the danger level would be even higher. The Idol Cloud Immortal King also regarded Xiao Hong highly, placing him in the second tier. As for Qin Wendian, he only placed him in the third tier. From this, one could see how much he appreciated Xiao Hong. At the instant Qin Wendian's gaze landed on Xiao Hong instantly sensed it. He turned his eyes over and stared at Qin Wendian as a dazzling light flashed in his eyes. Among those at the fourth level of celestial phenomenon, there were three who were the most outstanding on the Cloud Heaven arena: Zhuge Yu, Xiao Hong, and Qin Wendian. Xiao Hong plundered a 60,000-meter battle halo. Qin Wendian did the same as well. Zhuge Yu didn't lose out either. The three of them didn't act against each other, but this didn't mean that they didn't have such thoughts in their hearts. Maybe their ultimate goal was to defeat each other and plunder a 100,000-meter battle halo, incomparably dazzling. Hence, when Qin Wendian turned his gaze onto Xiao Hong, he could instantly sense a supreme battle intent flickering in Xiao Hong's eyes. That was a fanatical battle intent, deep and terrifying. Xiao Hong slowly turned his body, staring directly at the battle platform Qin Wendian was on. Beside them, there were several other battle platforms, but when he turned his gaze over, it was as though the platforms in the middle didn't exist at all. Qin Wendian also turned and stared at Xiao Hong. The two of them stared at each other as their battle halos emitted terrifying rumbling sounds. It was as though the battle halos could sense the battle intent between the two of them. At this moment, countless people raised their heads and looked at the scene. Their hearts trembled. Was Qin Wendian going to fight with Xiao Hong? Both of them had 60,000 Zhang battle chi halos around their bodies. If they were to fight, who would win? How exciting! Below the Cloud Heaven arena, thunderous rumbling sounds rang out, causing many in the crowd to retract their gazes as they asked in bewilderment, "What's going on?" Up there, Qin Wendian and Xiao Hong are fighting. Someone reminded. Momentarily, the gazes of the crowd turned to Qin Wendian as their eyes narrowed. Even their hearts clenched. Finally, it was time for the strongest to fight. Both of them couldn't afford to lose, right? Once they were defeated, they would have to start from the beginning again, plundering battle chi halos. Xiao Hong's body soared up into the air, floating in the direction of Qin Wendian's battle platform. Waves of terrifying battle intent gushed forth as his battle chi circled the skies, emitting a terrifying roar. His entire body was shrouded in a layer of battle light. Xiao Hong initiated the challenge? The countenances of the spectators flickered. They didn't see the look in Qin Wendian's eyes and thought that Xiao Hong was provoking Qin Wendian. Only to see at this moment, a layer of terrifying runic light circulated around Qin Wendian's body. His entire body seemed to be covered in dazzling runic inscriptions, as though he was clad in a fiend god armor. In the air, Xiao Hong had already arrived in the airspace above the Cloud Heaven arena where Qin Wendian was at. He floated there, his eyes gleaming with a towering battle light, unexcelled in the world. With a wave of his palms, his constellation flashed as numerous golden arms appeared in the air. These arms were imbued with resplendent runic inscriptions. This was one of the constellations Xiao Hong had condensed. Before this, everyone had seen him using this constellation to battle. His control over it was extremely terrifying. Astral light continued flashing as Xiao Hong's second constellation appeared. A terrifying purplish-black light circulated around it as terrifying devil hooks appeared in the air. The hooks gleamed with a cold light, causing the hearts of the spectators to tremble. Go! Xiao Hong and Qin Wendian didn't say anything. Xiao Hong, who stood in the air, directly unleashed his attack. A fearsome constellation radiated outwards, enveloping this entire space. Countless golden arms covered this entire space, grabbing towards Qin Wendian. Before this, whenever his opponents were grabbed by these golden arms, they would instantly be immobilized, unable to move before being destroyed by the devil hooks. Rumble! Qin Wendian's body expanded in size. With the protection of his constellation armor, he grew to a height of over 100 meters in an instant, resembling a fearsome giant. He inclined his head and stared at Xiao Hong in the air, his gaze causing terror to fill the hearts of the spectators. Is he going to go all out? The spectators could faintly sense that this demon-level genius was truly going to unleash his full power when they saw Qin Wenqian's 100-meter body. Resplendent runic light circulated around his body, incomparably resplendent. He resembled a true fiend god, exuding an unshakable might. The arms that blotted out the skies slammed over, grabbing onto Qin Wenyin. However, those arms had no way to restrict Qin Wenqian's 100-meter body. Xiao Hong's countenance didn't change. The countless arms grew even larger, radiating a towering light. This time around, they weren't aiming for Qin Wenyin, they were aiming for him instead. Rumble! A terrifying explosive sound rang out as Qin Wenqian's gigantic body continued to grow. From 100 meters tall, he grew to a height of 1,500 meters. His body was so large that it felt as though he could touch Xiao Hong, who was in the air. That terrifying palm imprint slammed into him, yet it actually had no way to break through his defense. The runic inscriptions circulating around the fiend god armor were simply too terrifying. "Are your attacks so strong?" Qin Wenyin inclined his head and spoke to Xiao Hong, who was in the air. Xiao Hong's defense was simply too strong. The Drift's now master's Dharma body, as well as the fiend god body refinement art cultivated by the sky demon oracle bone, gave him an armor of fiend god armor. Once he stepped into the immortal foundation realm, as long as he cultivated the fiend god body refinement art, his physique would be even more terrifying compared to ordinary immortals and devils. And now, although he was only at the celestial phenomenon realm, based on his attainments in runic inscriptions, as well as the fiend god body refinement art from the sky demon oracle bone, in addition to the might of the fiend god heavenly suppression art, even if it was just the defense of his fleshly body, he had already reached a terrifying level. Xiao Hong's golden-armed constellation was mainly used to control the constellations in the constellations. Xiao Hong's countenance turned cold when he heard Qin Wenqian's words. Towering purplish-black devil clouds gathered in the air as the shadow of a devil king manifested behind Xiao Hong. In the air, the terrifying devil shadow blocked out the sunlight, enveloping the entire battle platform. Swishing sounds rang out as devil hooks descended from the sky, locking down the space in all directions. One of the hooks grew to a length of thousands of meters, aiming for Qin Wenqian's gigantic body. If this hook struck someone else, that person would surely die instantly. Only to see at this moment, resplendent astral light flashed above Qin Wenqian's head as his suppressive annihilation constellation appeared. Instantly, a supreme suppressive might erupted forth as several gigantic silhouettes stood there proudly. Qin Wenyin punched out as the several gigantic silhouettes erupted forth at the same time. Even the gigantic devil hooks seemed to be suppressed by the suppressive might. Numerous gigantic silhouettes radiated a resplendent light as they swept through the sky. Qin Wenqian's strength, in addition to the suppressive annihilation constellation as well as the fiend god heavenly suppression art, the explosive might unleashed could truly shake the heavens and earth. Everywhere it passed by, not a single blade of grass survived, suppressing everything. Rumble! The demonic hook exploded and shattered. The incomparably huge body rushed toward Xiao Hong. Xiao Hong's expression darkened. The huge body of the demon king in the air let out a terrifying roar. It projected itself down and waved the heaven-seizing demonic hook. Boom! Qin Wenqian's 1,500-meter tall body stomped on the cloud heaven battle platform, causing the entire platform to tremble violently. That gigantic silhouette actually soared up into the air as a terrifying luster circulated around it, causing rumbling sounds to echo in the air. Qin Wenyin punched out with both his fists, wanting to destroy the heavens and earth. Nobody could block his attack. At this instant, the suppressive annihilation body that was shimmering with resplendent runic light seemed to be centered around Qin Wenqian's fists, transforming into a fist light capable of suppressing everything. Terrifying explosions rang out as the devil body was penetrated. Right now, Xiao Hong had 3 heads and 6 arms. His entire body was covered with devil hooks, frenziedly defending against the incoming attack. However, the suppressive might didn't show any mercy, unceasingly destroying his defenses. Finally, Qin Wenqian's fist that could destroy everything arrived. Xiao Hong's body at this moment seemed so tiny and inconsequential. His body trembled violently as he coughed out blood. Qin Wentian's battle halo gushed forth, directly seizing the battle chi from Xiao Hong. Xiao Hong's body was directly blasted through the air, flying tens of miles away in the blink of an eye before vanishing from sight. The 120,000-meter battle halo revolved around Qin Wentian, soaring up into the air as a thunderous whistling sound rang out. That 1,500-meter-tall gigantic body stood tall in the air, resembling a supreme battle god, indestructible, undefeatable, like an invincible existence. Powerful. The hearts of the spectators trembled. This was a true battle. Although Xiao Hong was strong, he wasn't strong enough to be a match for Qin Wentian. Seems like before, Qin Wentian was just playing around. Nobody was able to force him to unleash his full combat prowess. Only now did he start to display his tyrannical strength, a strength that could destroy everything. In the selection test of the Cloud Prefecture, Qin Wentian could definitely be ranked within the top 3. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.